Chapter 262. Su Jiran walked up to Baiya and looked at her delicate face. She had put on makeup, and her already beautiful facial features were dazzling under the makeup. The corners of her mouth were curled up, and she looked extremely charming. That kind of charm was not just from the makeup, but from her very bones. Su Jiran's heart felt as if it had been struck by something, causing ripples to form in his heart. "I'm surprised that you came to pick me up," Su Jiran said as he looked at her. "This shouldn't be the only thing that surprised you. Just get used to it. Let's go, I'll treat you to dinner. The Savant's restaurant here is the most famous, and the local food is pretty good. I've made a reservation." Baiya turned around. He held her waist and pulled her to his side. Baiya looked at him and met his devilish eyes. She pursed her lips and said, "Commander Su, are you very particular about formality?" "You're my woman," Su Jiran said in a deep voice, as if he was scrutinizing something. Baiya shrugged, not letting him see what she was thinking, and turned her face away. "If I were a 20-year-old girl, I'd like this kind of formality. Unfortunately, I'm almost 30, and it's better not to be mushy." "As long as I like it, I can't control others," Su Jiran said domineeringly. He hugged her even tighter like a pair of iron pincers, not letting her break free. She also knew that she could not break free, so she simply leaned all her strength on him. She stood in the most comfortable position, and they walked to the waiting area for taxis. There were quite a lot of people waiting in front. Su Jiran liked the weight of her body. When she leaned on him, he felt that his life was complete. Otherwise, his soul would be floating, and he would not be able to find a place to stay. Now he knew what he wanted. His gaze unconsciously softened. "How have you been these days?" Su Jiran asked in a low voice. "How can you not know how I've been?" Baiya smiled and asked, "In my mind you're a godlike man, omnipotent. Can I take what you said as praise and not sarcasm?" Su Jiran looked at her calm face. "It depends on how you hear it. Literally speaking, it's a compliment. However, if you've done a lot of bad things that I don't know about, it does sound very ironic." Baiya raised his eyebrows and looked at Su Jiran sharply. Su Jiran pinched her chin, bent down and kissed her lips. A strong masculine scent invaded her mouth. Baiya furrowed his brows and glanced at Su Jiran. He was so engrossed in the kiss that he closed his eyes. He was even impulsive, fierce and domineering. She knew that she could not avoid it. Struggling would only make him more excited. She clenched her fists and stood still. Her calm eyes were closed, and she was like a statue, dead silent. She did not resist. Su Jiran was also shocked. He opened his eyes and looked at her. Baiya took out a silk handkerchief from her bag calmly and wiped her lips. She said lightly, "Is the lipstick tasty? I'm going to put on poisonous lipstick next time. We'll be poisoned together." He pinched her chin, lifted it up, and kissed her lips again. "I'll eat it even if it's poisonous. I'll die under a peony and become a ghost." Baiya smiled. "You do have a lot of peonies." Panic flashed in Su Jiran's eyes. His heart felt as though it was being gripped by a hand. The sourness came unexpectedly. He corrected her. "No more. Since 3 years ago, you're the only peony I've had. You know that." Baiya nodded thoughtfully. She saw a taxi coming from the corner of her eyes. "Let's get in the car first." Baiya opened the car door and sat in the front passenger seat. She said, "Master, let's go to Savant's restaurant." The taxi driver started the car. Baiya looked out of the window and did not say anything. Su Jiran looked at the side of her face with a burning gaze. He did not say anything either. Half an hour later, they arrived at Savant's restaurant. The hostess at the door led them to their reserved seats. Baiya picked up the menu and ordered. The waitress quickly gave them the order and brought them buckwheat tea. Su Jiran took a sip of tea. "I couldn't find you for the past few days. I almost went crazy. I thought you were hiding alone. It's not like I don't want to live anymore. You have the power of my life in your hands now," Baiya said calmly. "As long as you receive the injection every month, I can guarantee that you will live to 100 years old," Su Jiran promised. "It seems that you don't want children anymore. Or did a woman give birth to a child for you?" Baiya smiled lightly. Su Jiran paused and looked at Baiya in surprise. "You're willing to give birth to a child for me? Why not?" You don't want children, but I do. Baiya looked down and sipped her tea. Su Jiran was excited. He held Baiya's hand and said seriously, "The antidote is still being developed. If there are no accidents, it will be out in 3 months. At that time, let's get married. I'll go with you wherever you want to go. I'm willing to give up everything I have for you. The antidote is still being developed. You're going to inject me with the virus? A man must be ruthless. This is indeed your style, Su Jiran. You're ruthless." Su Jiran stared at her face. He couldn't tell if she was praising him or despising him. He tightened his grip on her hand. "At that time, you forced me to the point that I couldn't breathe. I couldn't just watch you and Gu Lingqing fly away together. I'll be good to you." Baiya looked at Su Jiran suspiciously and narrowed her eyes. "Su Jiran, there's something I'm actually quite curious about. With your looks and power, you can have any woman you want. Why did you steal a woman from Gu Lingqing, and even me? With my figure and looks, there are a lot of women on the street. The problem is that I don't have a good personality. You've been with me for so long, so you should understand. What do you like about me? I like you so much that you want to destroy me. Because I've had too many women. I know which kind of woman is worthy of my love. During the 3 years we were married, you didn't abandon yourself because of my flirtatious ways, and you didn't give up because of my wanton hurt. Every time I was sick, drunk, sad, or in a bad mood, you stayed with me. It was always you." Su Jiran confessed. "So, even if you have to inject me with the virus, you still want to keep me? Should I feel sad for the Baiya from 3 years ago, or should I feel that I deserve it now?" Baiya smiled. Her smile was so bright that it was even more dazzling than the light from the crystal lamp. "The past is the past. Let's think about the future together. In the future, Su Jiran won't have eyes for other women. I'll take care of you for the rest of your life. That's the end of the bitterness, right? I won't let anyone hurt you," Su Jiran promised. Chapter 263. I'll do the injection with you. As long as you're willing to be with me, I'm willing to do anything for you. You actually know this, Su Jiran confessed tenderly. Baiya propped up her cheeks and looked at Su Jiran. "Are you really willing to do anything?" "I'm willing to do anything," Su Jiran said without hesitation. "Got it, I'm going to the washroom." She got up and walked to the washroom. After washing her hands, she looked at her enchanting self in the mirror. Her eyes were filled with confusion. In her knowledge, love was a chemical element called dopamine. When a person felt love, this chemical substance would be produced. It would make one feel sweet, radiant, and immerse in a fairy tale world. One's IQ would drop to 0. All one could see was the good points of the other party. All one would miss was the other party. If one could not see the other party, one would feel sad. However, this chemical substance would also disappear with metabolism. The longest it could stay in the body was no more than 3 months. After 3 months, what maintained the relationship between a man and a woman was not dopamine. Instead, it was one's personal cultivation, sense of responsibility, and attitude towards life. Rationality became the dominant factor. The criteria to be considered were habits and adaptations without temptation. One would be able to see the other party's good points and shortcomings from a rational point of view. Because they were looking for a partner, they would have higher requirements for the other party. It would magnify the other party's shortcomings. There would be quarrels in life. They would wear each other down until they gave up. Then, they would go on another dopamine journey. Baiya and Gu Lingqing loved each other more and more. What was the reason for that? The continuous production of dopamine? What was the reason for Su Jiran's love for Baiya? Xiaoya. Gu Lingqing's voice was heard. Baiya saw Gu Lingqing in the mirror. Her eyes flickered slightly. "Why are you here?" Gu Lingqing asked and walked towards her. Baiya frowned defensively. She turned around and faced Gu Lingqing. "I think I've made myself clear. You're the source of Baiya's pain. Don't see each other again. Even if you see each other, pretend that you don't know each other." She lowered her head and walked outside. Gu Lingqing stood in front of her, grabbed her wrist, turned around and pushed her against the wall. "I'm the source of Baiya's pain. Am I yours?" Baiya paused and looked at Gu Lingqing in confusion. "What do you mean?" I think you should know Baya's feelings for me better than me. After all, you've always been with her and experienced everything she's been through. You know her better than anyone else. Let me ask you, does Baya want us to be together in the end? Gu Lingqing asked with burning eyes. Baya clenched his fists. You guys can't be together. Why can't it be? Gu Lingqing retorted. There was pain in his eyes and his brows were knitted together. Baya lifted her chin. I don't think there's anything to hide. You should be able to tell that Baya was in too much pain in the past. She was too helpless and heartbroken. Every day was an inner torment for her. She had too many things to worry about, too many things to bear, and too many things to bear. As a result, her condition got worse and worse. She could no longer bear it. If it continued to develop, she might end up like her mother, unable to do anything and locked up in the nursing home until she died. So, at the moment when she was about to have a mental breakdown, she hypnotized herself. I'm a product of her hypnosis. I don't know love, I don't have love, I don't know pain. I don't need to take medicine, and I won't have insomnia anymore. She'll probably never come back, and I don't love you. Gu Lingqing's heart skipped a beat, and he loosened his grip. He would rather she pretended not to love him to protect him than to turn into someone else. He didn't know. What should he do? Baya crawled out from under Gu Lingqing's arm. She turned around and looked at Gu Lingqing, who was in a daze. Baya hopes that you and Zhou Hailan can live happily ever after. She's sincere. From now on, your career will rise and you'll be invincible. If you love her too, do what she wants you to do. Without Baya, Gu Lingqing won't be happy. Does she know that? Gu Lingqing asked in a low voice. Baya's lips twitched. You have a strong sense of responsibility. Zhou Hailan gave birth to your child, so you should marry her. The so-called dopamine doesn't last long. Love will disappear with the passage of time. Not many people can get married after a period of love. Even if they get married because of love, they might not be able to live until they die. To be able to walk till the end of your life, that is life. Don't you think that your view of life is too sad? There are many people in history who are faithful to one person until they die. Baya, don't be disappointed in life. Gu Lingqing said worriedly. Baya shrugged. She didn't even look at Gu Lingqing in the eye. If you were Baya, after experiencing what she has gone through, you wouldn't still have hope. You wouldn't still have a little bit of kindness towards this world. Live your own life. I don't want to hurt you, but if you continue to pester me, don't blame me. I won't stand on ceremony. After she finished speaking, she left the washroom decisively. Gu Lingqing looked at Baya's back view with a deep gaze. She was arrogant, cold, and like a lonely female warrior. He roughly knew what Baya had gone through. She was born in a cold home. She saw her mother being drugged by her father, and her mother getting divorced. When she was young, she lived with her mother. Her mother cut her wrists and she committed suicide. She climbed out of the bathtub and walked to the door. She looked outside and realized that there was no place she wanted to go. She returned to the bathtub and waited for death. She was saved by her neighbor. Her mother was sent to the mental hospital. She didn't have anyone to adopt her, so she went to an orphanage. She grew up and could support herself. Her mother was also rescued and she fell in love. However, she was kidnapped by her fiancé and ex-girlfriend on the eve of her wedding. She was raped. It wasn't easy for her to give birth to a child, but it was snatched away before it was even a week old. In the 3 years of marriage, all she saw was her husband's betrayal. She watched over him alone day and night. Finally he appeared, but he caused her to lose her job. She lost her pinky. He lost his memory and forgot about her. He only remembered Zhou Hailan. To her, it was the greatest pain. She chose to commit suicide. After being saved, she went to study psychology. Just as they were about to be together, something happened. She was filled with disappointment and pessimism towards this world. All the more he couldn't give up on her. Even if he had to gamble with his life, he had to let her see that it wasn't just despair. At the very least, he would always be by her side, no matter what happened to her. Baya returned to her seat. The waiter had already served 4 dishes. She didn't say anything. She lowered her head and ate the bamboo-wrapped pork without any expression. Su Jiran picked up a meatball for her. You really should eat more. You're too skinny. Chapter 264. A cold glint flashed past Su Jiran's eyes. Don't worry. He's your father. I won't do anything to him. Baya looked at Su Jiran and smiled charmingly. What if I let you do it? Su Jiran looked at Baya in confusion. Baya made a call in front of Su Jiran and pressed the public speaker button. Hello, who's this? Xing Bachuan's voice was heard. Dad, I'm Baya, Baya said. Don't call me Dad. I don't have a daughter like you. I thought you hooked up with Gu Lingqing. Do you know how bad your reputation is in the circle now? Xing Bachuan said sternly. No matter how bad my reputation is, I'm still your daughter. I have your blood flowing in my veins. You can't change this fact. Shut up. You have that B*TCH by Bing's blood flowing in your veins. You're as B*TCH as she is. I'll sever our relationship as father and daughter and publish it on all the major networks. Don't you threaten me with my daughter's identity. I'm not afraid of your threats, Xing Bachuan said angrily. Baya's eyes were as cold as a cliff in the cold wind, but the corner of her mouth was slightly raised. I can sever our relationship as father and daughter, but I have one condition. Cooperate with me and cure my mother. Dream on. From today onwards, whether you and your mother live or die has nothing to do with me. If you continue to pester me, don't blame me for being merciless. Xing Bachuan rejected her directly. Yeah. Baya chuckled. I'd like to know how merciless you are going to be towards me. Baya, don't force me. Killing you now is easier than killing an ant, Xing Bachuan said agitatedly. The flesh on his face was trembling. Baya raised her eyebrows and looked at Su Jiran. She raised the corner of her mouth slightly and said sarcastically, Killing me is easier than killing an ant? I'm afraid I have to disappoint you. You only know that I broke up with Gu Lingqing, but you don't know that I'm with Su Jiran. How can you be so cheap? Su Jiran is your brother-in-law. Xing Bachuan gritted his teeth in hatred. I don't even have a sister. How could I have a brother-in-law? Also, let me remind you that Su Jiran is my ex-husband. I know very well whether it's me or Xing Jinyan who's acting cheap. Baya hung up the phone after she finished speaking. Su Jiran looked at Baya with pity and consoled her softly. Xiaoya, don't be sad. You still have me. Baya put the phone on the table and said calmly, I'm sad because I still have expectations for him. But the result is not what I want. I feel wronged and pity myself. In fact, all of Xing Bachuan's words were within my expectations, so there's nothing for me to be sad about. On the contrary, his cruelty is my sword, and I don't have to show any mercy. I will make him kneel before you and beg for your forgiveness, Su Jiran promised. Baya smiled. Her charming eyes seemed to be covered with a veil, and no one could tell what she was thinking. Su Jiran's phone rang. Baya lowered his head to eat. When he saw the caller ID, he frowned impatiently and hung up the phone. The other party did not give up and called again. Do you need me to pick it up for you? Baya asked with a smile. Her eyes glanced at his phone. It's Xing Jinyan, right? Su Jiran thought for a moment and handed the phone to Baya. Baya looked at the caller ID. She remembered the nickname of editor Su Jiran. She had somewhat forgotten what the nickname was. Now it was Little Nian. She picked up the call and pressed the speaker button again. Su Jiran, what's the meaning of this? Dad said that B*TCH Baya is with you. Are you crazy? She's already been used by so many men. And she's sick all over. Gu Lingqing doesn't even want her anymore. How can you pick up a pair of used shoes? How can you face me? Xing Jinyan scolded. Are you done scolding me? Baya asked. Xing Jinyan paused and said in shock. Baya, you're really with Jiran. Why are you picking up Jiran's call? Where's Jiran? I want to talk to him. Go ahead, he can hear you. I pressed the speaker button, and he's sitting opposite me, Baya said calmly. Xing Jinyan could no longer stay calm. He was about to explode. What's the meaning of this? Baya, you know that Su Jiran is my fiancé. Are you going to be a mistress now? Su Jiran is just your fiancé. Why are you so angry? When Su Jiran was my husband, what did you do? Baya said casually. Her eyes were full of sarcasm. So you're taking revenge on me now? Xing Jinyan roared. Ah, Baya laughed. In my eyes, you're nothing. Taking revenge on you? Sorry, I don't have that much time to waste on an insignificant person. You're the one who's nothing. One moment, you're with Gu Lingqing, the next moment you're with Mu Xiaosheng, and the next moment you're with Su Jieran. You're going to sleep with every man. Don't you have any shame? Xing Jinyan roared hysterically. In terms of the number of men you've slept with, whoever has slept with the most will die a horrible death. Do you dare to swear with me? Baya said sarcastically. Of course I dare. I'm just a man. Do you dare? Xing Jinyan shouted. Then I really don't dare. I'm just a man. Soon I'll have to. You win. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Baya, if you dare to touch Su Jieran, I'll kill you, Xing Jinyan threatened. His eyes were bloodshot. He understood Baya's hint. Baya hung up the phone and returned it to Su Jieran. Su Jieran looked at her deeply and didn't take it. She seems to love you very much. If you turn back, maybe there'll be another beautiful scene. Baya placed his phone in front of him. Xing Jinyan has attended sex parties overseas. In the 3 years that I've neglected her, she went overseas every year. Do you think I'll like her? Su Jieran sneered and drank the wine in his hand. In a sense, you're very similar to her. You're a good match. Don't you always attend those parties? In the future, when you get married, you can attend them together. There are no obstacles, no pressure, no responsibilities, no burdens, Baya said calmly and poured a little red wine for Su Jieran. But there's no love. I'm tired of living without feelings. I don't want to die without someone I love or someone who loves me. That way, it'll feel like I've lived my life in vain. When I'm with Xing Jinyan, there are no obstacles, no pressure, no responsibilities, no burdens. At the same time, there's no warmth, no rest, no stop, Su Jieran said sadly as he looked at Baya with a burning gaze. What you're looking for is a woman who loves you wholeheartedly. You'll eventually find such a woman, but it's not me. Baya also drank the wine in her hand. His heart was heavy. It shouldn't be. Chapter 265. But the one I love is you. As long as I look at you, I feel at ease. Even if you don't love me, I want to be with you until the end of the world. At least, when I die, the one I love the most will be by my side. I won't have any regrets, Su Jieran confessed. Go and do what you should have done, Baya said in a low voice. She lowered her head and continued eating without saying a word. The waiter came over to settle the bill. Baya took out her wallet from her bag. Sir, someone has already settled the bill for your table, Fu Yuhuang said with a smile. Baya looked at Su Jieran. It wasn't me, Su Jieran explained. Baya's eyes darkened. She glanced sideways at the door. If it wasn't Su Jieran, it had to be Gu Lingqing. She was already eating with Su Jieran. What did he mean by settling the bill for them? She couldn't see Gu Lingqing clearly, just like how Baya couldn't see him clearly. Who settled the bill? Su Jieran asked. Baya shook her head. I'm not sure. Forget it, let's go. She got up and walked out of the door. A gust of cold wind blew over. She wrapped her arms around herself. Su Jieran took off his shirt and wrapped it around her. His shirt had a charming smell of cologne. What she liked was the same as what Baya liked before. She liked the refreshing smell. Su Jieran walked to the side of the road to take a taxi. Baya turned around and saw Gu Lingqing. He stood by the window of the private room and looked at her with a deep gaze. When their eyes met, she turned her face away and clenched her fists slightly. Su Jieran got a taxi and opened the back door. Baya walked towards Su Jieran and got into the taxi. Su Jieran sat next to her. Baya handed him his clothes and said to the driver, Go to Jinyuan City International Hotel. Xiaoya, can I stay at your place tonight? Su Jieran went straight to the point. My relatives are here. It's not convenient today. Baya refused. Su Jieran's lips curled into a devilish smile. It's not like I have to. I've already waited for 3 years. 1 more week won't make a difference. Baya lowered her head. I'm used to sleeping alone. Su Jieran furrowed his brows and turned his face away. There was a hint of anger in his eyes, but he didn't say anything. The space was very quiet. It was so quiet that they could hear each other's breath. Su Jieran's chest heaved unsteadily. He turned around and faced Baya. Baya leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes. What if I forcefully request to stay in the same room with you? Su Jiran asked in a deep voice as he looked at her with a burning gaze. Baya glanced at him and said calmly, okay. The word okay was out of his expectations. Su Jiran couldn't see Baya clearly anymore. You agree? Yes, Baya replied softly. She tilted her head and leaned on Su Jiran's shoulder. Su Jiran's heart was beating fast. He hugged her shoulder and looked down at her. She closed her eyes. Her long eyelashes were like a fan. They were soft, and they melted his heart. Su Jiran lowered his head and kissed her on the forehead. She didn't react at all. It was as if she had fallen asleep. Su Jiran kissed her forehead, her eyes, her nose, and her lips. She still didn't move at all. Xiaoya. Su Jiran's voice was a little hoarse. Let's get married soon, okay? Baya didn't say anything. Su Jiran noticed that Baya was behaving strangely and panic flashed in his eyes. Xiaoya, wake up, Xiaoya. Baya pushed his mouth and didn't open her eyes. You're very noisy. I just fell asleep. Su Jiran heard her speak and breathed a sigh of relief. He smiled. You're really sleepy. It's still so early. And Baya didn't refute and continued to sleep. The car stopped at the International Hotel, and Baya opened her eyes. Su Jiran handed the driver a 100 yuan note. Baya opened the car door and got out. Keep the change. Su Jiran carried the clothes and caught up with Baya. He draped it over her. It's cold. Don't catch a cold. Baya responded and went to the hotel. Su Jiran didn't ask for another room, and followed Baya to the 21st floor. Are you sleeping outside or inside? Baya asked. Outside, Su Jiran replied. There was a strange look in his eyes. He had seen countless women, but because of Baya's words, his heart was beating fast as if it was his first awakening of love. Baya opened the door. Only then did he know that Baya was talking about outside or inside. There was more than one bed. You booked the presidential suite? Su Jiran couldn't hide the disappointment in his tone. The service in the presidential suite is better. The room is more complete. I'm still very sleepy. I'll take a shower first. Good night. Baya walked into the room and locked the door. Su Jiran wanted to say something, but she had already locked the door. He saw that she was really tired, so he didn't call her again and walked into the bathroom. Baya saw that he didn't knock on the door. She went to the bathroom and looked at herself in the mirror. She looked at herself for a long time without saying anything. Her phone rang. She came back to her senses and saw that it was Su Jiran's call. She answered. What's wrong? I want to hear your voice, Su Jiran said softly. Then record my voice now. I'm going to sleep later. Don't call me anymore. I have a headache when I wake up, Baya said indifferently. Then say something nice. I'll record it. Su Jiran really turned on the record button. Baya paused for a moment and asked, why do they call you Commander? It's from the president. So they call me Commander. The place you went last time was one of my bases. My main job is to investigate all the officials in secret and grasp all the secrets and movements of all the officials, Su Jiran explained. You work for the president? Baya was doubtful. Strictly speaking, yes. What if it's not the president who comes to power this time? Baya asked. If there's no such accident, Gu Lingqing has already lost his candidacy. As long as the information I have on Su Shaoling is leaked, Su Zheng will also be disqualified. Su Zheng is your uncle, your biological uncle. Baya was puzzled. Baya, I'm only telling you this. I'm willing to hand my weakness to you in exchange for a chance for you to treat me sincerely. I'm not Xiong Dani's biological son. Xiong Dani's biological son is dead. I'm adopted by Xiong Dani, Su Jiran said with a smile. Baya frowned. So, how did you know that Xing Bachuan killed your father? Chapter 266. The human heart was separated by the belly. Even if one could see the beating heart, one still could not see a person clearly. That was why there was speculation, probing, danger, and injury. She could feel the coldness in Su Jiran's tone through the screen. She felt that everyone should bear the consequences of their mistakes. It was not that they would not take revenge, but that it was not time yet. Xingbachuan only had himself to blame for what had happened today. I'm sleepy. Good night, Su Jiran, Baiya said softly. You haven't said anything nice yet, Su Jiran reminded her. What nice thing do you want to hear? Thank you for giving me an extraordinary life? Or thank you for loving me to the point of destruction? Ah. Baiya chuckled. That chuckle was filled with displeasure, sarcasm, and blame. She did not give Su Jiran a chance to speak. She hung up the phone, switched it off, and threw it on the bedside table. She felt dizzy and closed her eyes. She did not even turn on the lights. After some time, she suddenly woke up and looked at the bedside. Gu Lingqing was standing in front of her. Because he had drunk alcohol, his face was strangely rosy. Even the air was filled with the smell of alcohol. Why are you here? Baiya asked in a low voice. What do you think? Gu Lingqing asked in return. His dark eyes did not hide the sadness that flowed through them. His breathing was rapid as he looked at her with melancholy. It was as if she was the only antidote for him. Seeing him like that, Baiya felt a little uncomfortable. Please get out of here. I want to rest. Gu Lingqing walked towards Baiya. She was frightened and got up from the bed. He was even faster. He rushed over and pressed Baiya down on the bed. Baiya pushed his shoulder defensively. Because they were so close to each other, all she could smell was his breath. How much did he drink? She was drunk and a little dizzy. Gu Lingqing, let go of me. Su Jiran is outside. If you continue like this, I will scream. Baiya warned sternly. Gu Lingqing tightened his jaw and stared at her. Go ahead and shout, right? Baiya was stunned. She was just trying to scare him. Of course she wouldn't shout. If Su Jiran came in, it would only make the situation even more chaotic. She had been seen through by Gu Lingqing, so she was angry. She turned her head and bit Gu Lingqing's arm. He furrowed his brows, pursed his lips, and did not say a word. He stared at her without blinking, as if he wanted to see through her and take her away. He was indeed. Baiya could taste his blood, but he still did not let go. Soldiers had a will of steel. Even if he was bitten until he was bleeding, he did not make a sound. He was indeed a tough guy. She thought that there must be a reason why Baiya liked him. She could not push him away or bite him. Baiya was helpless. What do you want? Gu Lingqing lowered his head and kissed her on the lips. Baiya was shocked. Her eyes widened and she pushed him away with all her might. She could not break free at all. His kiss was as domineering as Su Jiran's. The difference was that she could treat Su Jiran's kiss calmly. She could not bear the slightest ripple in her heart. However, when faced with his kiss, she could not resist it and her breathing became chaotic. After Gu Lingqing's red tongue entered her mouth, it circled around her tongue a few times and then sucked on the tip of her tongue. There was a slight prickling pain, so she could not ignore his presence. What was more intense was the taste of alcohol in his mouth. It easily ignited her. His palm lifted up her nightdress. The temperature in his palm was as hot as the butt of a cigarette. Everywhere it touched, it made her tremble. She wanted to say that her relatives were there to stop her from further intruding. But her lips were blocked by him, so she could not make a sound at all. Gu Lingqing's palm pressed down along her smooth skin. Baiya gripped the bedsheets tightly and looked at him in shock. He closed his eyes and did not look at her. He kissed her seriously, not too fast or too slow, as if he wanted her to get used to it. Baiya felt ashamed. She had been on guard, but she had miscalculated. There was no logic to speak of when it came to a drunkard. He did not look at her at all, so he did not see the sanitary pad she had pasted on her. Most importantly, he still blocked her lips to prevent her from saying anything. Gungam. She did not know whether it was because she was anxious or because she was struggling, but her forehead and nose were densely covered in sweat. Most importantly, there was an indescribable feeling washing away her rationality, and she was on the verge of collapsing. Gu Lingqing was too familiar with her. He remembered every detail of her behavior in his heart. He increased his speed and kissed her even more deeply. Baiya felt that she was almost out of breath, so she bit his tongue. He suddenly pressed it down. She felt as if there were fireworks blooming in her mind. There was a bright and colorful light. She forgot to think, forgot the environment she was in, and opened her mouth to breathe. Gradually it calmed down. Xiaoya, your reaction is quite good, Gu Lingqing said hoarsely in her ear. Now it's my turn. He lifted her feet. Baiya was anxious. She held his hand and said anxiously, I'm on my period. You can't. Gu Lingqing paused and looked at his palm. There was no red. He looked at her suspiciously. She found it difficult to say it. After all, it was just an act. She felt guilty and lowered her eyes. It's true. Didn't you say it just now? Gu Lingqing asked in a low voice. You blocked my mouth just now. What should I say? Baiya explained. Gu Lingqing replied. He didn't make things difficult for her, and sat by her bed. Baiya couldn't tell what he was thinking, so she stayed away from him defensively. Gu Lingqing looked sideways and saw her repulsion. His eyes were deep. Where are you? Where will I be? If there's any danger, remember to call me immediately. It seems like you're the one in the most danger, right? Baiya said unhappily. Who would do this to her room in the middle of the night, and without asking if she was willing? If she didn't know that Baiya liked him, she would have asked him to die. Did you feel comfortable just now? Gu Lingqing changed the topic. Baiya blushed. She didn't want to answer his question. If you don't say anything, I'll take it as a yes, Gu Lingqing continued. I didn't feel comfortable, Baiya replied. Then change it next time, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. His eyes were locked on her, and he replied seriously. What? Baiya didn't understand what he meant. What change? Change what? My fingers are a little thinner, Gu Lingqing explained seriously. Baiya. I remember that we broke up. No, it's a divorce. You even signed a marriage agreement with Zhou Hailan. Gu Lingqing, please understand your identity. You're a married man and a soldier. Should you say something like that? Baiya said angrily. Chapter 267. Baiya's heart tightened. She held Gu Lingqing's hand anxiously. Why are you so stubborn? Don't you think you're the one who's stubborn? What you think is right might not be right, Gu Lingqing said in a deep voice. But you have to take up your responsibility as a father. You and Zhou Hailan have a son. You need to be an umbrella for your future instead of wasting your time on a useless person like me. Baiya said angrily. Although that child isn't what I want, because he's my biological son, I'll take care of him and protect him to fulfill my responsibility as a father. This doesn't conflict with my pursuit of you. Gu Lingqing was also angry. How many times do I have to tell you before you understand that you can't? Before Baiya could finish her sentence, Gu Lingqing kissed her lips again, and swallowed the words she wanted to say. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. Baiya glanced at the door. Panic flashed through her eyes and her back stiffened. Xiaoya, who are you talking to? Su Jiran asked suspiciously when he heard the voice inside. Baiya looked at Gu Lingqing angrily and punched Gu Lingqing's chest. Gu Lingqing took the punch and held Baiya's hand. I'll come to see you in 2 days. Call me if you need anything. He kissed her lips again, got up and walked out of the window. Xiaoya, Su Jiran shouted. Xiaoya. Baiya guessed that Su Jiran was about to break in. Wait. She picked up the wine in the cabinet and opened it. She took a big gulp and splashed some on herself. Then, she went to the bathroom and poured half the bottle. She placed the bottle on the bedside table and opened the door. Su Jiran looked at Baiya's flushed face. Have you been drinking? Baiya responded. He looked around the room. Other than Baiya, there was no one else. Who were you talking to just now? Why are you talking to yourself? Baiya looked at Su Jiran with droopy eyes. Su Jiran saw her phone on the bedside table and picked it up. It was turned off. He turned on his phone and checked the call log. There was no incoming call notification. He believed her. Why are you talking to yourself? I can be a good listener. Su Jiran put down her phone and said. She didn't have anything to say to Su Jiran, but if she didn't say anything, she would seem too guilty, which would make him suspicious. Practice cursing people, Baiya said in a low voice. Su Jiran looked at her from head to toe. Do you still need to practice scolding people with your eloquence? Are you complimenting me? Baiya asked. Su Jiran's lips twitched. He entered her room and sat on the sofa. Go ahead and curse. I'll listen and give you some guidance. I can't curse now. Baya looked troubled. Su Jiran laughed. Why are you so cute? Practicing how to curse people in the middle of the night? I have a headache now. I want to sleep. Baya asked her to leave. Because she was too guilty, she didn't look at Su Jiran. She put the bottle of wine on the bedside table into the wine cabinet. Su Jiran hugged her from behind. He took a deep breath and smelled the fragrance of wine on her body. He said in a hoarse voice, Xiaoya, I don't want to leave your room anymore. Baya furrowed her eyebrows. Su Jiran and Gu Lingqing were very similar in some aspects. Was it because they didn't become brothers? It was too dangerous to sleep with Su Jiran in the same room and on the same bed. Even if she had her auntie to protect her, her auntie was not an excuse for the rest of her life. If she let him sleep with her today, she wouldn't be able to reject him in the future. I can't sleep if there's one more person. Baya refused. Then don't lock the door. I'll come in after you fall asleep. Baya, you have to get used to me being by your side. We still have a long life ahead of us. Su Jiran said softly and licked her red earlobe. Baya's body trembled. She covered her ears and looked at him in rejection. Su Jiran smiled wickedly. Be more sensitive. Su Jiran, can you go and sleep? Baya sighed softly. No. He rejected her decisively. Neither hard nor soft methods worked. Baya wanted to lose her temper. Then I'll leave my room to you. I'll go out. Baya walked towards the door. Su Jiran held her hand and said helplessly, You should give me a deadline. Baya, I've given you enough patience. 3 months. Baya said. Su Jiran's eyes turned cold. Don't tell me that you're going to leave me in 3 months. He was right. Baya felt guilty and her breathing became unstable. Do you think I can leave you? She forced herself to calm down and asked. Su Jiran held her hand and pressed it on his stomach. It was scorching hot, like the butt of a cigarette, burning her palm. Baya subconsciously pulled her hand out and looked at him defensively. Help me get it out. I don't care what you do, get it out. Su Jiran said in a commanding tone. Baya frowned. Do it yourself. Su Jiran unbuckled his belt. She hurriedly walked towards the door. He grabbed her arm. Baya did not dare to turn her head. Turn back. Su Jiran ordered. She took a deep breath. In terms of physical strength, she was not a match for Su Jiran. She had her aunt to protect her today, so she should be safe. She turned around and looked at Su Jiran. The zipper of his trousers had been unzipped, and half of his shirt was pulled out. He was roguish and dangerous, as if he would turn into a big monster in the next moment and swallow her into his stomach. You have to give me some time to prepare myself. I've just divorced Gu Lingqing, and now I'm having sex with you. Don't let others say it. I also feel that I'm very cheap. I can't get over myself. Baya begged. Su Jiran locked his eyes on her. Baya, don't play tricks on me. I agreed to your request because I cherish you and want to win your heart. But don't waste my trust and play me like a fool, okay? Su Jiran warned her meaningfully. Baya knew that Su Jiran had a high EQ and IQ. If she made a mistake, she would have nowhere to hide in front of him. I'm already adjusting. Although it's slow, I'm already trying my best, Baya replied. Su Jiran flung her hand away. Wait here. He walked into her bathroom. Baya's heart was still in her throat. Her hands were trembling as she looked at the door. She could escape now, but what about after she escaped? Su Jiran would never trust her again. With his ability, it would be very easy for him to catch her and bring her back. She would lose more than she gained. She could only gamble again. In the bathroom, Su Jiran glanced at the rubbish bin and saw the female products. She was really on her period. He washed his hands, turned around and opened the door. Chapter 268. The corners of Su Jiran's lips curled up. It was good that she was here. You should rest. It's late. Let's talk tomorrow. I'll be outside. You can look for me if you need anything. Su Jiran compromised. She walked out of the room and closed the door for Baya. She was like a defeated rooster. Her shoulders drooped and she sat on the sofa weakly. However, her eyes were fixed in front of her. Life was full of gambles. If she won, everyone would be happy. If she lost, she would have to start all over again. She lay on the sofa and rested for a while. Then, she locked the door and walked into the bathroom. She took a shower and washed her clothes. When she lay on the bed, it was already 3 in the morning. As she lay on the bed, the scene with Gu Lingqing flashed across her mind. Her vision became more and more hazy. She closed her eyes. She had to sleep. There were many things to do tomorrow. She had to be alert. She slept until 10:20 in the morning. She was woken up by her phone ringing. She saw that it was Lu Shuang. She paused for a moment and answered. Shuang Niu. Xiaobai, where are you now? Can you meet me? Lu Shuang said irritably. I'm in Jinyuan City now. What's wrong? Baiya asked worriedly. Do you remember the time we went to the women's club together? Didn't someone do something to me? Yes. Did you find out who the man was? Baiya guessed. No, but I'm pregnant, Lu Shuang said helplessly. What? Baiya was shocked. She sat up. You didn't take the pill? Didn't I ask you to have a checkup? I did. There's nothing wrong. I saw that the man had been taking protective measures. I thought that taking the pill would harm my body, so I didn't take it. I didn't expect that there would be a fish that slipped through the net. Lu Shuang was confused. He sighed. Shuang Niu, listen to me. You don't have a boyfriend and you're not married. If you give birth to this child, people will criticize you. It will ruin you. You can't keep the child, Baiya said seriously. Lu Shuang was silent. Baiya could tell that Lu Shuang was hesitating. She hesitated because she actually had her own ideas, but she was not completely sure. She wanted the answer to be the same as her thoughts. And when it was not, she would be silent. Baiya was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. She got up from the bed and walked to the window. She said in a grave tone, Shuang Niu, you're pregnant before marriage. This will be a stain on your record for life. You won't even be able to keep your position in the military. I'll learn more in the future. It shouldn't be a problem for me to go back and become a gynecologist. My father is the director, Lu Shuang said softly. But your child is an unregistered resident and can't be registered. Your father will also lose face because of you. Even if you go back and become an obstetrician, your colleagues, patients, and patients' families will point fingers at you. It will be difficult for you to find a husband who will respect you. Even if your in-laws accept you, will they accept your children? Even if they accept your child, what about your current child when you and your husband have a new child in the future? Do you want him to be unhappy for the rest of his life? Shuang Niu, think carefully, Baiya said solemnly. Xiaobai, I'm already desperate. No one will marry me. I lowered my requirements, but I can't even find a boyfriend. Will I be lonely for the rest of my life? Lu Shuang said in a daze. You're so beautiful and have a good character. How can no one marry you? I'm 27 this year. I remember that the market was quite good when I was 23, 24, and there were a lot of men who asked me out. Now I've lost confidence because of the pressure of life. Let me think about it. Lu Shuang was depressed and hung up the phone. The more Baiya thought about it, the more worried she was about Lu Shuang. She went to the washroom to brush her teeth and wash up quickly. She didn't even put on her makeup and went out with her bag. Su Jiaran had already woken up and was working in front of the computer. When he saw Baiya, he smiled. You just woke up? Something happened to Lu Shuang. I have to go back to Sidia now, Baiya said worriedly. Su Jiaran turned off the computer. Didn't you become someone's tutor for 3 months? Oh yeah, about this, Su Jiaran. Do you have any way to find a mercenary for me? I'll pay him 200,000 a month. I need him to help me protect one of my students. At the same time, I need him to restrain my student's behavior and report to me about the situation. Sure, but it'll take at least a day for the mercenary to arrive. Are you in a hurry to go back to City A? Su Jiaran asked. Baiya calculated the time that Lu Shuang was pregnant. It didn't seem to be a month yet. Even if she had a miscarriage, it would be 49 days later. She was not in a hurry to go back to City A. She couldn't panic. She had to be calm. Gradually, Baiya calmed down. She shook her head at Su Jiaran and wiped the sweat on her nose. I'm too nervous. Indeed, I'm not in a hurry. Actually, you don't have to worry too much about Lu Shuang. She's quite lucky. I guess she'll be lucky soon, Su Jiaran said with judgment. How do you know? Baiya looked at Su Jiaran suspiciously. He was secretly investigating all the officials, so he might know something that no one knew. If you want to know, let's go for breakfast together. I'll tell you slowly. Su Jiaran smiled and glanced at the door. Baiya looked at the time and found that it was already past breakfast time. Okay, it's my treat. She walked out of the door. They had breakfast at Fuchuan restaurant near the hotel. Because it was past breakfast time, there were not many people there. Baiya went upstairs and ordered several kinds of soup dumplings with different flavors and 2 bowls of dumplings. Tell me. Baiya was anxious about Lu Shuang. Do you still remember Shiniyan? Su Jiaran asked. Baiya had a little impression of this person. He seemed to be the son of the president. She had met him on a blind date with Lu Shuang. He looked like a bad playboy, and he was also the man who took Lu Shuang's virginity. At that time, Su Jiaran even took a photo of it and threatened her. What's wrong? He likes Lu Shuang, Su Jiaran said in a deep voice. That's really bad news. Lu Shuang doesn't like him. Or I should say he hates him, Baiya said unhappily. He's His Highness, the son of the president. If nothing goes wrong, he will run for the president this time. I'm afraid Lu Shuang can't avoid it, Su Jiaran said. What do you mean by can't avoid it? Will Sheniyan marry Lu Shuang? Baiya was suspicious. Many thoughts flashed through her mind in an instant. I don't think so. Sheniyan's identity is so noble. He just became the president, and there must be many voices of impeachment. His father should have helped him choose a girl who can stabilize his position. But it's still possible that Sheniyan secretly took in Lu Shuang as his woman. Secret. Baiya felt as if a basin of cold water had been poured over her head, and her blood froze. Chapter 269. I'm sorry, but our Lu Shuang doesn't care. Baiya said angrily. She picked up the teacup on the table and drank all the water in it. Su Jiaran saw that she was angry, so he stopped talking. The waiter served the dumplings quickly. Do you want vinegar? Su Jiaran asked. Baiya had no appetite at all. She knew that Lu Shuang was Baiya's only friend. That Sheniyan really liked Shuang Niao? Baiya still couldn't believe it. This is what I heard. Sheniyan is more shrewd than anyone thinks, and he does things very carefully. Lu Shuang is with him. Although he doesn't have a title, he can have anything he wants, Su Jiaran commented. Shuang Niao looks casual, but she is very hot-tempered. She has very low requirements for men. She doesn't ask for cars, houses, looks, or status, but she can't cheat or be a playboy. Sheniyan should have many girlfriends, right? Baiya said sadly. Su Jiaran didn't deny it. In his position, a man's charm is sometimes his strongest weapon. He needs those women and those men to strengthen his position. He's only 27 years old this year. If he becomes the president, he'll be the youngest president in history. It's all because of him. This is all because of his strength and strategy. Do you have any reliable people you can introduce to Lu Shuang? It's lonely at the top, and with Lu Shuang's straightforward personality, she won't last more than 1 episode in a palace drama before she carries a bento box. Sheniyan has too many women around him. Lu Shuang can't handle them all. I'd rather him live a peaceful life. Su Jiaran laughed. Why do I feel that you will be in charge of the harem at the end in court dramas? Baiya was annoyed. She hit Su Jiaran's hand. I'm serious. Why are you laughing? Su Jiaran's expression hardened. Misfortune is the source of fortune, and misfortune is the source of misfortune. It's better to let nature take its course. Or Sheniyan will soon get tired of Lu Shuang, and if we stop him, it will make him more determined. Lu Shuang is married, so Sheniyan doesn't need to think about her anymore. She might harm her husband's entire family, Su Jiaran guessed. From Su Jiaran's words, Baiya could feel that Sheniyan was an overbearing, ruthless, and merciless person. What she hated the most was being forced. She pushed the table hard and said, I'm not eating anymore. You eat. Xiaoya, Su Jiaran shouted. Baya picked up her bag and walked out with a cold face. She walked alone on the way back to the hotel. She was afraid that Lu Shuang did not know that Shen Yan was eyeing her. Otherwise, with Lu Shuang's character, he would definitely tell her. She now suspected that the person who raped Lu Shuang might be this prince. Her phone rang. She saw that it was LV Biao's mother, and answered it immediately. Ms. Bai, something happened to LV Biao at school. Someone saw him peeping at girls in the toilet. Now the principal wants me to go. What should I do? I don't dare to tell my husband. He will definitely beat him to death, LV Biao's mother said worriedly. Baya's heart skipped a beat. How is that possible? I'm going to school now. Don't worry, we'll talk about it when we get there. Baya immediately took a taxi and rushed to school. The homeroom teacher came out to pick her up. She went to the principal's office. Other than the homeroom teacher, the principal, the dean LV Biao, and a few other students were in the principal's office. LV Biao clenched his fists tightly. His eyes were bloodshot, and he looked at the students in front of him with a murderous look. Baya saw that something was wrong. She went forward and hugged LV Biao. She said gently, "It's okay, it's okay. You didn't do it, did you?" LV Biao looked at Baya. His eyes were red because he was agitated and wronged. I didn't. They wronged me. Believe me. There's justice in this world. They can't wrong you. Whatever I ask, you just answer truthfully, Baya said. LV Biao nodded. Baya turned around and looked at the three kids opposite her. An idiom flashed through her mind. Which one of you saw LV Biao peeping at girls in the toilet? Baya asked coldly. All three of us saw it, the chubby boy said. When did you see it? Baya questioned. After the second period, we finished our exercises and went to the toilet. We saw LV Biao peeping at girls. The chubby boy said righteously. Very good. Fatty, follow me. Principal, follow me too. Baya walked towards the door. Lu Biao held Baya's hand. Teacher. Baya smiled faintly at LV Biao. When heaven is about to bestow a great responsibility on a man, he must first suffer his will, tire his muscles and bones, starve his skin, empty his body, and mess up his actions. That's why his patience has been tempered, and he has done what he couldn't. Now the hardships, setbacks, just to make you more tenacious. Resolute. LV Biao understood. He nodded and let go. Fatty glanced at his companions and followed behind Baya with trepidation. After leaving the door and turning a corner, Baya asked the fatty, Did you see LV Biao peeping with your own eyes? Fatty nodded. Yes. Then show us what you saw, Baya said. He locked Fatty in a cold manner and turned on the recording. Fatty felt guilty. His eyes flickered as he walked to the female toilet and laid on the ground. Baya smiled. Lying on the corridor in this position, facing the female toilet. Unless LV Biao is retarded, he wouldn't do that. That's what I really saw, Fatty said firmly. All right, you can go back to the classroom now. Baya looked at the principal. Let's invite the second student to come out and perform. The principal knew Baya's intention, but his face was still solemn. LV Biao was the governor's son. If he did something wrong, they wouldn't dare to punish him. If they wronged the governor's son, the school wouldn't be able to escape the blame. Let's forget about it, the principal said with a troubled expression. Now that my student has been wronged, how can we forget about it so easily? Or do you want me to invite Governor LV himself? Baya said sternly. That. Let's continue watching. The principal bit the bullet and returned to the office with Baya to call another short student. Baya smiled and asked, Did you see LV Biao peeping with your own eyes? Of course, the short student said immediately. Then please show us what you saw. Baya took out his phone. The short student's face was pale. He leaned against the wall and looked inside. When the principal saw it, his face turned pale too. The third student also came over. What he performed was rushing into the female toilet. Principal, please call the three students to the principal's office. Also, call their parents over. Baya walked towards the principal's office. LV Biao looked at Baya worriedly. Chapter 270. After a while, the three students were called into the office. They must have had a private discussion as their expressions were very ugly. Baya leaned on the principal's desk and turned on her phone to record the conversation. Tell me, why did you accuse LV Biao? I don't like him. The fatty didn't deny it and said confidently. Baya looked at the other two students and said, did you guys accuse him because you don't like him too? He used his identity as the governor's son to act like a tyrant. Even when he did something bad, there were people protecting him. This kind of person can't be allowed to stay in the school. He will only harm others if he stays, the skinny boy said righteously. Baya's lips twitched and she smiled sarcastically. You guys aren't the law and you guys aren't gods. You guys think that LV Biao will harm his classmates. Now it's you guys who are harming, slandering his classmates. Your actions will cause LV Biao to be spurned and expelled from the school. It will even affect the reputation of the governor. The circumstances are serious. So, I have already called the police. The rest of the matter will be settled by the law. The principal's expression was very bad. This kind of thing happened in the school, and it had a huge impact. How can we not call the police? It's just a small matter. Baya looked at the principal and said, do you think LV Biao's expulsion is a small matter? Have you ever thought about how it would affect his soul if he doesn't see justice after being wrongly accused? It's not that serious. It's just a child's joke. The principal laughed dryly. Baya became serious and looked at the principal sharply. If it was just a joke, you wouldn't have called us over. The principal saw that he couldn't convince Baya, so he turned to LV Biao's mother and said, if this matter gets out, it won't be good for the governor's reputation, right? LV Biao's mother hesitated and looked at Baya. Teacher Bai, can I discuss it with you? LV Biao's mother didn't need to say anything. She knew what to say. Baya nodded and walked out to the corner of the stairs. Mr. Bai, it's all thanks to you that LV Biao managed to escape. Otherwise he would have been wrongly accused. However, LV Biao's father is a respectable person. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. Why don't we just let them apologize and let it go? LV Biao's mother said with a smile. Said. A phrase flashed through Baya's mind. It's the father's fault for not teaching his son well. With LV Biao's personality, the influence of his family was huge. Madam, you know very well what happened to LV Biao in the past. If he made a mistake, he would not be punished. If he was wronged, he would not be able to see justice. Then, how could his mentality not be twisted? Let him see the power of the law and understand that if he did something wrong, he would be punished. His behavior is developing in the right direction. Baya disagreed. I need to discuss this matter with my husband. LV Biao's mother seemed to disagree, but she also expressed that she was in charge of LV Biao's affairs. Baya smiled. LV Biao's mother must have made up her mind not to pursue the matter. It's okay. Go ahead and discuss it. However, please allow me to remind you that the contract I signed with Governor LV clearly states that LV Biao's treatment should be completely according to my plan. You can't interfere. Once you do, the contract will be terminated. Baya expressed clearly. LV Biao's mother's expression did not look good. I don't think I'm interfering with your treatment plan, right? What you're doing will worsen the psychological distortion of my patient. What do you think? However, the child is yours. I'm just a person who receives money for treatment. The child's future development depends on you, his guardian. I want to go back and see LV Biao. Baya nodded and walked towards the direction of the office. LV Biao's mother's eyes flashed with annoyance. She called LV Xingzhou. What's the matter? LV Xingzhou's tone was not very good. Where did you find this psychiatrist? Not only does she have no manners at all, she's insolent, arrogant, rude, and unruly. Give her some face and she's already starting a dye shop. She's almost stepping on my head. Can't you fire her and find another one? LV Biao's mother said angrily. Said. Didn't you say she's quite capable yesterday? She even made Xiao Biao stop making trouble during dinner. She even took the initiative to ask to go to school. What's wrong with you today? LV Xingzhou's attitude became even worse. Today there were 3 students who wrongly accused our LV Biao. She's quite capable. In just a short while, she found a loophole in Xiao Biao's accusation. However, she insisted on suing those 3 students. I want to turn a big problem into a small one, and a small one into nothing. After all, what our Xiao Biao did before was true. LV Biao's mother said worriedly. Don't bother me with such a small matter. You can handle it yourself. LV Xingzhou's tone became slightly better, but she said that if we interfere with LV Biao's matters, her contract with you will be terminated. LV Biao is my son. Can't I interfere with his matters? LV Biao's mother got angrier as she spoke. LV Xingzhou was silent. You gave her so much money. Now that the contract is terminated, can you return it? LV Biao's mother asked again. I can't return it. I think she did it on purpose. I've never seen a psychiatrist as arrogant as she is. She's a liar. She wants to use this method to extort a huge sum of money. If she can't be cured in the future, we won't be able to say anything about her. Also, she started putting on airs right after signing the contract. Now she even sent Xiao Biao to school. She even skipped out on tutoring. This kind of person has a bad character. I don't believe she can take good care of Xiao Biao. Ask her to return the money and get lost. LV Xingzhou was so annoyed that his head was about to explode. You handle it. In the future, take good care of the child. You don't do anything at home, and can't even take care of a child. I think I should divorce you and find a new wife to give birth to a smart and healthy child. When LV Biao's mother heard that, she felt wronged. You were the one who didn't want me to go to work. Now you're blaming me? Sob, sob, sob. When LV Xingzhou heard that, he started crying. He didn't say anything and just hung up the phone. LV Biao's mother was even more furious. If it wasn't for Baiya, she wouldn't have been scolded for no reason. She went back to the principal's office angrily. Without looking at Baiya, she said to the principal, My husband said that they're all children. Don't make things difficult for them. After all, they're classmates. Baiya understood. Why? They wronged me. They should be sent to jail. LV Biao said anxiously. You better get along well with your classmates. Don't cause trouble for me. LV Biao's mother said angrily. LV Biao looked at Baiya with a wronged expression. Baiya smiled. Your parents are your guardians. I can't make the decision. Because of our differences, I'm afraid I can't be your tutor anymore. Good luck, I'll have high hopes for you. Chapter 271. I hope to find a good teacher for you. Teacher Bai is too harsh and I'm afraid she's not suitable for you. Don't worry, I'll definitely find a better one for you. LV Biao's mother coaxed and belittled Baiya. Baiya stood there indifferently, raising an elegant and calm smile. Parents played an important role in the development of a child's personality. Since LV Biao's mother didn't approve of her, saying too much would just lower her status. I only want teacher Bai, LV Biao said stubbornly. Kid, why aren't you listening? Wait for your father to come back, and let him teach you a lesson. LV Biao's mother was furious. Baiya looked at LV Biao. You're talented and smart. You don't need a teacher to guide you and you'll be successful. Even if I'm not your teacher, as long as you get into the top 10 in the monthly test, I will still keep my promise. Teacher Bai, how much do you earn a month? If they don't hire you, I will. LV Biao said stubbornly. You won't be able to afford teacher Bai's salary. She earns 80,000 a day. Your monthly allowance is only enough for her for a day. LV Biao's mother said in disdain. The principal was shocked and looked at Baiya. 2 days of her salary was enough for him for a year. Baiya felt that it would only get uglier if she continued to stay here. She nodded at LV Biao's mother and walked out of the office. Teacher Bai, wait. LV Biao's mother shouted. Baiya walked behind the wall and stopped. You're only teaching LV Biao for a few hours. Based on the fee of 10,000 an hour, can you refund the rest? LV Biao's mother said coldly. Baiya wasn't angry. He smiled. Madam LV, you can check the contract and get a lawyer to look at it before calling me. How can you be so shameless? It's only been a few hours and it's already close to 2 million. Even if you sell it, you won't be able to make that much money. Are you going to refund the money or not? If you don't refund it, don't even think about working in the future. LV Biao's mother warned. Baiya looked at LV Biao's mother calmly. Her gaze was calm and serene. LV Biao's mother frowned. What are you looking at? My employment relationship with you ends now. However, I have to remind you that there are some words that no one will care if they are spoken at a lower position, but if they are spoken at a higher position, they will be magnified without limit. Similarly, there are some things that are done at a lower position, but if they are done at a higher position, they will lose. Baiya warned as he walked towards the stairs. LV Biao's mother was in a daze. When she came to her senses, Baiya had already gone downstairs. She walked out of the school gate, got on a taxi, and went back to the hotel. She called Su Jieran. You don't need to look for mercenaries anymore. There's no change to the plan. Bad, I'm fired. What's going on? Su Jieran asked worriedly. Reasonable, but unexpected. That's all for now. She hung up the phone, looked out the window, and sighed. Originally, he wanted to use the opportunity of counseling to get close to LV Xingzhou. Unfortunately, this world was full of too many uncertainties. There were miracles and accidents. He couldn't force it and could only adapt. When she arrived at the hotel, Su Jieran was already there. Are you okay? They didn't make things difficult for you, did they? Su Jieran looked at her face. Baiya shook her head. They interfered with my treatment, so they terminated the contract. If they didn't terminate it, I wouldn't have been able to cure LV Biao within 3 months under their interference. Were you confident that you could cure him within 3 months? Baiya smiled faintly. LV Biao is very perceptive. He's like a strong and healthy sapling. If he's tied to a straight wooden stick, he'll be upright. I can cure him within a month. However, if the people outside want to mess with him, he'll really go astray. It's quite scary. It's all fate. I'll pack my things and go back to City A. It's good to go back to City A. City A is my territory. No one will dare to bully you, Su Jieran promised. As long as you don't bully me, Baiya said meaningfully. Su Jieran was speechless. While she was packing her luggage, Su Jieran's phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID and frowned. He turned around and walked out of the door. He answered the phone and asked, "What's wrong?" Gu Lingqing said he doesn't want to marry me. What do you think I should do? Zhou Hailan asked in a low voice. Cry, throw a tantrum, and threaten to hang yourself. Isn't that your usual routine? You were very confident in yourself. This is a task given to you by the higher-ups. You should solve it yourself, Su Jieran said coldly. If I insist on getting married, Gu Lingqing will only hate me. Even if I marry him, I won't be happy, Zhou Hailan said irritably. How you deal with it is your business. That's all. I'm very busy. Su Jieran did not wait for Zhou Hailan to speak, and hung up the phone directly. Zhou Hailan was irritated and stomped his feet angrily. He breathed in, and breathed out. He adjusted his emotions and called Gu Lingqing. Ah Qing, Xiaobao can't live without a father. I've let him down for 5 years. Don't abandon us, okay? Xiaobao and I only have you now. Xiaobao will have a father. I will fulfill my responsibility as a father. I will also take care of you for the rest of my life. However, Gu Lingqing's wife will only be Baiya. I'm sorry? Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. He was very determined. Baiya treated you so well. She left you when you needed her the most, and went to stay with Su Jieran. Why are you still thinking about her? I'm the one you need to take care of, am I not? Zhou Hailan said anxiously. Hailan, it's clearly stated in the agreement that whoever proposes to separate first will leave with nothing. I have 3 houses in one. 0.8 million in my personal savings. I will let my lawyer handle it. Gu Lingqing was determined. I don't want your houses or your savings. Ah Qing, I'm wrong. I shouldn't have forced you. Let's cancel the agreement. I don't want Xiaobao to have no chance to see you because of my selfishness. Zhou Hailan compromised. After a moment of silence, Gu Lingqing said, Thank you. However, let's follow the legal procedure. Don't worry. I will take good care of you and Xiaobao. I will also recognize Xiaobao's identity. That's it for now. I still have work to do. After speaking, Gu Lingqing hung up the phone. Zhou Hailan was so angry that he smashed his phone against the wall. 3 houses and 1.08 million yuan. Compared with the Gu's group, it was simply a drop in the bucket. She had more money than this. What was the use of it? Baya, Gu Lingqing only had Baya in his heart now. Except that Baya was younger, prettier, and had a better figure. She really couldn't see what made Gu Lingqing like and infatuated with Baya so much. She and her son couldn't stop him. There was also Su Jiran. He was also distracted by Baya. Were all these men blind? What was so good about an iceberg? Chapter 272. Baya got on the train back to City A. She looked out of the window. The sunlight was just right. It fell on the ground, and it was white. The green leaves were very green, the grass was very green, and the flowers were all kinds of colors. They were colorful and full of vitality. The corners of her mouth curled up slightly. Su Jiran kept looking at her. She smiled, and he also smiled. Time was peaceful. If he had realized his feelings for her earlier, perhaps they would have been happy together, and there would have been 2 children. He held her hand. Baya looked at him, and her gaze returned to its usual coldness. What's wrong? Are you hungry? Go to the restaurant and eat something. Don't be hungry. Su Jiran pulled her up. After his reminder, she realized that she was indeed a little hungry, so she followed him into the restaurant. Su Jiran ordered 2 40-yuan lunchboxes and 2 bottles of Coke. He placed them in front of her. Baya opened the lid and lowered her head to eat. Are you still going to work at the research institute after you go back? Su Jiran asked. Yes. Baya remembered that she still owed Mu Xiaoxing a lot of cases. She had to pay off the debt before she could leave. I'll buy a house near your research institute. That way, you'll be closer to work. Cough cough. Baya choked on her food. Su Jiran immediately opened the Coke bottle and handed it to Baya. She took it and drank a few mouthfuls. It seemed that men liked to buy houses for women. Gu Lingqing was one, and so was Su Jiran. I like to live in a hotel. Baya refused tactfully. Why? I can renovate the house into a hotel suite. You can tell me anything you need. Su Jiran was puzzled. I can enjoy the star-rated service of the hotel. I'll be there whenever I call. Besides, Baya paused and looked at Su Jiran. The hotel won't make me feel lonely. I will always be with you. I won't let you stay at home alone. I swear, Su Jiran said sincerely. Baya smiled. Then buy it and decorate it well. Anyway, it would take half a year for the renovations to be completed. Seeing that she agreed, Su Jiran was very happy. I will hire a housekeeper, a chef, and a few servants. This way, you will enjoy better service than the hotel. Baya didn't respond. He lowered his head and continued eating. They arrived at City A at 6:40 p.m. 2 hours earlier, Baya had called Lu Shuang. As they walked out of the station, Lu Shuang waved at Baya. Baya saw it and walked towards Lu Shuang. I'll stay at your place today. Is that convenient? Yes, it's convenient. You're always welcome. Lu Shuang looked at Su Jiran. Su Jiran looked at Baya. Then Xiaoya, have a good rest tonight. I'll contact you tomorrow. Baya nodded and got into the driver's seat. Lu Shuang sat in the passenger's seat and looked at Baya with a smile. You came back to look for me? Baya drove. We'll talk about it when we get to your place. Have you eaten? Not yet. I'm waiting for you. Lu Shuang looked at Baya's serious face and felt guilty. He pulled on the seatbelt and looked at Baya again and again. Xiaobai, I heard some gossip today. They said that you married Gu Lingqing and then something happened to Gu Lingqing, so you forced Gu Lingqing to divorce. Is that true? Lu Shuang didn't believe it. Baya didn't tell him that she was married to Gu Lingqing. It's true. Baya didn't deny it. Huh? You married Gu Lingqing? Why didn't you tell me? Lu Shuang was shocked. It happened so suddenly. My marriage and divorce weren't within my expectations. When I had time to settle down, it was already the ending today, Baya said calmly. So you're with Su Jiran now? Lu Shuang scratched his head in confusion. If it's just on the surface, then we're together. But if it's in our hearts, no. Baya didn't hide it. Lu Shuang pursed her lips and looked gloomily at the air in front of her. After a moment of silence, she said sadly, Life is so magical. Enemies can become friends, friends can become enemies. People who love each other can become people who hate each other, and people who hate each other can become people who live together. People who hate each other can become people who live together. Bai Ye's hand that was holding the steering wheel tightened. She glanced at Lu Shuang and her eyes flickered. She said tentatively, "If you live with Shen Yan for the rest of your life, then I'd rather be single for the rest of my life." Before Bai Ye could finish, Lu Shuang interrupted her. Bai Ye's heart became heavy. She frowned. "I met my junior high classmate last time. She even talked about Shen Yan. She said that he had changed 3 girlfriends this year. This guy he." Lu Shuang added. The word he was filled with disdain and contempt for Shen Yan. At the red light, Bai Ye stepped on the brake and looked at Lu Shuang. "What are you going to do about the child?" "That. Lu Shuang evaded and finally said what he was thinking. "I think it's good to have a child instead of a husband." "What if the child's father isn't a good person?" Bai Ye said solemnly. "The child is mine. It's mine alone. Who cares who the father is? Even if my child doesn't have a father, he won't lack love," Lu Shuang said with a smile. "What if this is the child's father's deliberate plan?" Bai Ye continued. Lu Shuang paused. "It can't be right? Someone told me that the father of the child in your stomach is most likely Shen Yan." Bai Ye said it out loud. She did not want to avoid it. Avoiding it would not solve any problem. The red light turned green. She drove forward. Lu Shuang's eyes widened. He looked at Bai Ye in shock. "How is that possible? I had sex with Shen Yan 3 years ago. How can I only get pregnant now? The person who had sex with you last time should be Shen Yan. You haven't been able to find a boyfriend for the past 3 years. It should be Shen Yan's doing," Bai Ye explained. Lu Shuang could not stay calm. "Is he crazy? He's so popular. Why is he making things difficult for a commoner like me? Is there something wrong with his brain? Why am I so unlucky?" When she thought of Shen Yan, she shuddered. Her eyes turned red. She did not want to believe it. This was the worst outcome that she had not expected. She felt a chill down her spine. She looked at Bai Ye. "Xiao Bai, don't lie to me. You can't joke about this." "I'm not joking with you," Bai Ye said coldly. She sped up. Lu Shuang looked at Bai Ye's serious expression. He felt a chill down his spine. When she knew that she was pregnant, she was quite happy. She thought that since she could not find a boyfriend and could not get married, having a child would not be bad. She would not be lonely when she was old. As for love, she was a little afraid when she saw how Bai Ye behaved. However, the child was actually Shen Yan's. Chapter 273. She knew Shen Yan all too well. She and Shen Yan were classmates in primary school and junior high school. In junior high school, many boys and girls did not know what love was, but he was precocious. Every day, he would block the corridors with a large group of followers, and every time he passed a good-looking girl, he would start flirting. When she was in junior high, she was a little fat. Every time she passed the corridors, he would say, "Slow down. The floor is going to collapse. Halley's Comet is going to hit the earth if it sees you. Your face is like the scene of a car accident. Where did you buy your clothes? Can't you get a bigger size? The meat is bursting through the buttons." And so on. She had never met such a sharp-tongued person. Because of his presence, she had to go downstairs and bypass him every time she went to the bathroom. Because of the stress, she lost 40 pounds in junior high. To her, the second day of middle school was like hell on earth. The school was divided into liberal arts and science subjects. She chose science and was in the same class as Shen Yan. He sat behind her and bullied her every day, like putting snakes in her bag or mud in her cup. Because her hair was long and would sometimes touch his desk, he took a pair of scissors and cut her long hair, which she had been growing for several years, short in class. She was so angry that she cried for a few days. Things like this were too numerous to count. Fortunately, his father was later promoted and transferred to another state to be the governor, so he left the school. 3 years ago, she accidentally met him on a blind date, and both of them were drugged by Su Jieran. When he was still rational, he should have jumped out of the window and everything would have been fine. Not only did he not jump, but he also stopped her from jumping. In the end, he went straight in, and the pain made her want to explode. That scene was too intense. It was like a battle to the death. It was a mess. Just thinking about it made her feel uncomfortable. Xiao Bai, what should I do? Lu Shuang asked in fear. Don't keep the child. Find a better man to marry. I heard that Shen Yiyan's marriage was arranged. You and him will not end up together, Bai Ye suggested. Who wants to have a result with him? How could he be so evil? Did he purposely make me pregnant? Doesn't he know that it's harmful to the body to abort the child? Lu Shuang was having a headache. Maybe I've fallen for you. Him? Impossible. He just wants to tease me and kill me to satisfy his perverted fetish. This person is sick beyond cure. I don't even have a boyfriend. No man will marry me. What's the use of being a nun? Lu Shuang really wanted to cry. Power. When Bai Ye said the word human, his eyes were filled with disgust. In this world, it's the law of the jungle. If you can't do your job well, you'll be replaced by others. If you're down and out in life, you'll be despised by others. Only the strong can do whatever they want, and others can't judge whether they're right or wrong. I've been unlucky for 8 lifetimes to get to know this idiot. It's an unexpected disaster. Xiao Bai, save me. I don't want to be pestered by this spoiled brat. He's a pervert. Lu Shuang begged for help. Bai Ye understood that Shen Yiyan was indeed despicable. He didn't have love, but he purposely made a woman pregnant with his child. This was too much of a beast. They arrived at Lu Shuang's apartment building. Bai Ye stopped the car. Lu Shuang was about to break down. He held his head and looked forward pitifully. His eyes were getting redder and redder. I heard that Shen Yiyan is a presidential candidate. If he succeeds in the election, will he play me to death? Bai Ye looked at Lu Shuang with sympathy. With Shuang Niu's broken personality, she might really not be able to hold on. If Shen Yiyan married Shuang Niu, it would be fine. At least there would be hope. As the first lady, she wouldn't be abandoned so easily. However, Shen Yiyan wouldn't marry her. Shuang Niu was loyal and kind-hearted, but she wasn't smart. She was by Shen Yiyan's side. Even if Shen Yiyan really liked her, she wouldn't be able to win against Shen Yiyan's other women. Don't worry. I'll think of a way. Bai Ye comforted him. You must think of a way. Shen Yiyan has been bad since he was young. He's even worse now that he's older. Lu Shuang was speechless. Okay. Bai Ye answered and accompanied Lu Shuang upstairs. Lu Shuang was no longer in the mood to eat dinner. Bai Ye sat next to Lu Shuang and thought about it. Su Jiran was the president's man. She asked Su Jiran for help, but Su Jiran refused. It seemed that the only person who could help her now was Gu Lingqing. However, it was obvious that Gu Lingqing was going to offend the future president. To her, Gu Lingqing and Lu Shuang were like the palm of her hand and the back of her hand. Why don't you go abroad? Bai Ye suggested. Okay, that's a good idea. I'll hide abroad for a few years. Maybe I can find a handsome guy. Lu Shuang agreed immediately. Get a visa first. You can't have the child after 49 days of pregnancy, Bai Ye said in a low voice. Lu Shuang's face turned pale. She really didn't dare to have Shen Yiyan's child. Although she had wanted to take good care of the baby from the beginning. Never fight against fate when things go against your will. You can never win. Bai Ye put her arm around Lu Shuang's shoulder. Go to the United States. I'll ask Mu Xiaoxing to help you study abroad. I have some friends in the United States who can take care of you there. Lu Shuang nodded. You'll come to see me often. I'm afraid of being lonely. The word lonely made her feel sad. What if she died? Lu Shuang was Bai Ye's best friend. Bai Ye was Lu Shuang's best friend too. Bai Ye smiled and nodded. I will. She ordered takeout. The two of them ate at home and chatted casually. From clothes to celebrities, from celebrities to colleagues, and from colleagues to delicacies. The only thing they didn't talk about was their relationship. The two of them seemed to have a telepathic connection. They both skipped this question on purpose. It was dawn. Bai Ye woke up naturally, and so did Lu Shuang. The two of them smiled. After breakfast, she took Lu Shuang to the research institute to ask Mu Xiaoxing for help. Mu Xiaoxing agreed readily. He contacted the university in the United States, and the university immediately sent him an admission notice. Go to the American embassy and write the application materials. Then wait for the notice, Mu Xiaosheng said to Lu Shuang. Thank you, Mu Xiaosheng. I'll go and apply now. When it's done, I'll treat you to dinner, Lu Shuang said with a smile. I'll go with you. Baiya was worried. Okay. Lu Shuang hugged Baiya's arm. Baiya drove to the entrance of the American embassy. Lu Shuang got out of the car first. Baiya went to park the car. A black van stopped in front of Lu Shuang. The door opened. Two well-trained people got out of the van and carried Lu Shuang. Baiya! Lu Shuang exclaimed. Baiya vaguely heard Lu Shuang's voice. She looked towards the entrance of the American embassy. Chapter 274. Baiya's heart tightened and she shouted anxiously, Lu Shuang! The van drove away. Baiya quickly started the car again and chased after it. When the van got on the road, Baiya saw another van that looked exactly the same driving over. She was afraid of being confused, so she looked at the license plate of the van that kidnapped Lu Shuang. *2S345. When the van reached an intersection, 4 or 5 similar vans drove over from both sides. Baiya was anxious. This kidnapping seemed to be deliberate. She called 110 as she drove. Hello, I'm Baiya. My friend was kidnapped in front of the American embassy. Now the car that kidnapped her is on Wui Road. The license plate is *2S345. Please help to stop it. I'm following that van now. I'll let you know at any time. But where is the car? The traffic light was about to turn red. Baiya was afraid that she would lose it, so she sped up. A van behind her stopped in front of her. It deliberately stopped at the traffic light, so that the van in front could pass it first. Baiya knew that they were deliberately stopping her. She was too anxious, so she ran the red light and looked for the van with the license plate *2S345. 1 van, 2 vans, 3 vans. All the vans she saw had the license plate numbers of *2S345. There was another intersection in front of her. The van split into 3 roads. She was about to break down. She had no idea which van had Lu Shuang in. She could only follow one of the vans closely. At least they were in cahoots. She said to the police, there are more than 10 *2S345 vans on the road. I don't know which one of them has my friend in it. I'm following one now. They are all in cahoots. Please set up a roadblock and stop one of them. We've registered it. We're going to apply to our superiors now. We'll inform you later, the police said. Baiya smashed the car horn angrily. There were many regulations in Country A, and the procedures were troublesome. By the time they applied, Lu Shuang might be in trouble. She thought for a while, and tried to calm herself down. The angrier she was, the more useless it was. She hung up and called Su Jieran. Xiaoya, you're awake. Shall we have lunch together? Su Jieran asked. Su Jieran, I need your help. Lu Shuang was kidnapped in front of the U.S. Embassy. She was in the van with the license plate *2S345, but there were more than 10 vans with the license plate *23345. They were all the same, and I didn't know which one had Lu Shuang. However, they are definitely in cahoots. I'm following one of them now. Can you help me stop it? Baiya asked anxiously. Even if we stop him, there's no evidence, Su Jieran said in a low voice. At least I know who took Lu Shuang away. Shiniyan, Su Jieran said with certainty. Shiniyan's men have been following Lu Shuang. Lu Shuang must have angered Shiniyan by going to the U.S. Embassy, so his men came to take Lu Shuang away. But don't worry, Lu Shuang will be fine. Baiya felt a chill run down her spine, and her face turned pale. Lu Shuang worshipped freedom the most. Shiniyan's behavior was equivalent to kidnapping and imprisoning him. Can you help me save Lu Shuang? Baiya asked. Su Jieran was silent. Jieran, Lu Shuang is my only friend. I can't let anything happen to her, Baiya said again. I'm afraid she can't be taken away by Shiniyan. Since Su Jieran said so, she couldn't leave Lu Shuang alone. She couldn't get over it. Anyway, her life had been ruined. She was willing to use her broken life to exchange for Lu Shuang's light. If you can save Lu Shuang, I can do whatever you want. Her hint was clear enough. Su Jiran was so smart. He should understand. She is in Shen Yi's place. She can't be saved. Shen Yi has more secret chambers than I do. But Xiaoya, don't worry too much. Shen Yi won't hurt her. I promise if there's a chance, I'll let you meet Lu Shuang. Baiya hung up the phone angrily and pulled over. Su Jiran said he loved her? Was that love? He was afraid of offending Shen Yi and the president. After all, he was the most important person in Su Jiran's heart. He only cared about himself and didn't care about others. That was why he had injected the virus into her body, without mercy. She knocked on the car again, and the shrill honk rang in her ears. It was as if she was venting all her anger. Someone knocked on the car window. Baiya let go and lowered the window. It was a middle-aged woman. Are you crazy? Why are you honking? You're disturbing everyone. The middle-aged woman scolded with her hands on her waist. Baiya didn't say anything and just closed the window. The middle-aged woman didn't feel satisfied yet. Seeing Baiya's bad attitude, she knocked on the window again. Baiya started the car. Seeing that Baiya was about to leave, the middle-aged woman kicked the car door hard. Get out. You want to run away after doing something wrong? That's what your mother taught you. Baiya's eyes flashed. She pushed the car door open and got out. She said sternly, your mother taught you to destroy other people's cars. Yo, you were the one who honked and disturbed the passers-by. Now you're in the right? The middle-aged woman widened her eyes. Indeed, there's no point in arguing with unreasonable people. You can get lost now. Baiya went to open the car door. The middle-aged woman flew into a rage and pulled Baiya's hair. Baiya instantly felt her hair go numb. Apologize, you be *teach. The middle-aged woman scolded. Baiya grabbed the middle-aged woman's hair and pulled it down with great force. The middle-aged woman was in so much pain that she was about to cry. She said sternly, let go. Baiya, use more force. You started it. Why should I let go? The middle-aged woman screamed in pain. I'll let go first, then you. She let go. Baiya pushed her away. Get lost. You be *teach. The middle-aged woman wanted to rush over again. Baiya took the safety hammer from Lu Shuang's car. The middle-aged woman stopped. She looked at the hammer in Baiya's hand, then looked at Baiya. How dare you? If you don't disappear in 3 seconds, I'll see if I dare. Baiya said sharply. The middle-aged woman saw that Baiya didn't seem to be lying, so she ran away dejectedly. Baiya returned to the car and threw the safety hammer in the front passenger seat. After the fight, she calmed down. It was useless to be irritable and angry. She dialed Gu Lingqing's number. Gu Lingqing picked up and said uncertainly, Xiaoya? I'll go to Blue Sky Courtyard now. Let's meet him, Baiya said in a low voice. All right, I'll go now. See you later. Gu Lingqing agreed immediately. Baiya stared into the distance. The sunlight fell on the mist in her eyes, reflecting the sparkling light. She wanted to never have anything to do with him. Chapter 275. Baiya bought a pair of jeans, a cap, and a black tracksuit with a hat in the mall. Then she went to a nearby hotel and booked a room. She took a shower in the room and changed into the new clothes. She put on the cap, the tracksuit, and a pair of black-rimmed glasses. The baby didn't take them on purpose. He just took the room card and 600 yuan in cash. She didn't drive. She took a taxi and said in a low voice, "Go to Blue Sky Villa." It took her more than 40 minutes to get to Blue Sky Villa from where she lived. When she arrived, Gu Lingqing wasn't there yet. She stood at the door for about half an hour. A black Hummer drove over. Gu Lingqing stopped the car in front of her and got out. He came alone. "Xiaoya, what's wrong?" Gu Lingqing was worried and looked at her face. "Let's talk after we go in." Baiya nodded and glanced at the house. Gu Lingqing opened the door. Baiya went in, took a deep breath, turned around and faced Gu Lingqing. "There's one thing I want to ask for your help. If you promise." Baiya paused. She really didn't expect that one day she would use herself as a reward. It was hard to say the following words. "If I promise?" Gu Lingqing stared at Baiya with burning eyes. She lowered her eyes. She thought of Lu Shuang's safety. Her life was ruined and she couldn't live for long. She should at least protect one of them. Besides, Baya had feelings for Gu Lingqing. She made up her mind, raised her head, and looked straight at Gu Lingqing. If you agree, I'll be the woman behind your back for 3 months. I remember I promised to help you with the psychological test for the soldiers. And it's also exactly 3 months. Gu Lingqing lifted her chin. Baya didn't move. She was so nervous that she didn't even breathe. He kissed her lightly on the lips and looked into her eyes lovingly. Even if you don't have any conditions, I will do whatever you want me to do. Baya's heart seemed to have been struck by something, trembling violently. No wonder Baya liked him. Indeed, this man had great charisma. However, she was an ominous person. It seemed that she had harmed him again. Baya seriously pushed Gu Lingqing's hand away. Listen to me first, then consider whether you want to help or not. Say it, what do you want me to do? His tone was very firm, as if no matter what she said he would agree. This matter would affect his future. Suddenly, she didn't want to say it. Lu Shuang and Gu Lingqing were both people she wanted to protect. However, it seemed that for one of them she would kill the other. She had to think again. Baya looked away. Gu Lingqing turned her face, so that she was facing him. He looked into her eyes firmly. Trust me. Trust him. Gu Lingqing was so powerful. He was brave, smart, and responsible. She believed in him. However, some selfishness and reluctance made her not want him to take the risk. But Lu Shuang, he was her only friend. How could she bear to do that? Gu Lingqing, if you offend the president, what will happen? Baya asked tentatively. Gu Lingqing's eyes flickered slightly, and he looked at her deeply. He understood her personality too well. She was testing him, just like when she was in the dungeon, testing him. Would he be released? He was sure that what she was talking about was related to the president. Nothing much, it doesn't matter, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. Baya had hope, but she was not so relieved. She probed again. Are you sure he won't make things difficult for you? The president intends to let his son take over the position of the president. A young man who is still young will be impeached when he comes to power. With my position, he won't dare to touch me, Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. What if he is young? Baya was worried. The president will be elected every 4 years. I promise you, the president after 4 years will be me. I will stand at the top, and no one can shake my position, Gu Lingqing promised. Baya's eyes were misty, and the corners of her mouth raised slightly. For years later, she would be gone, right? He had made so many sacrifices for her, but she couldn't be with him forever. 3 months was probably the maximum deadline. She felt that Gu Lingqing wasn't worth it, so she was pitiful. She stood on tiptoe, her lips touching his, and closed her eyes. Gu Lingqing looked down at her. Her eyelashes trembled slightly, like a feather fan, teasing his heart. Gu Lingqing hugged her waist and pulled her to his side, hugging her very tightly. He had finally waited for her. God knows how he spent the days when she was not by his side. He was in a state of madness almost every day, unable to control his temper and emotions. His heart was heavy, and when he woke up with pain. He missed her to the point where he could not control himself. He ran to see her, wanting to break open her head and see her heart. Then he would point at her heart and say to Baya, "Look, you love me." Gu Lingqing closed his eyes and deepened the kiss. He was careful, as if he was protecting a treasure. Different from that night, he was so gentle that he wanted to melt her. She did not know who started it first. The two of them twirled and tangled, and Gu Lingqing turned on the air conditioner. His clothes seemed to be taken off by her. He also took off her clothes, pants, and put her on the sofa. The moment he wanted to kiss her, she became nervous, held his arm tightly, and looked into his dark eyes. He looked back at her. She saw herself in his eyes, and there was a hint of confusion and panic. Was it right or wrong for her to do this? Was it redemption or a predestined fate? Was it to make up for it or sink deeper? She did not know, so she was afraid. When Gu Lingqing kissed her, it was light, but when he entered, it was heavy. Just like the impression he gave people, he was strong and powerful. Because of some unexpected events, Lu Shuang and Shinian had sex. I don't know what Shinian was thinking, but he wanted to bring Lu Shuang into his harem. Lu Shuang didn't want to, so he kidnapped her. If I'm not wrong, Lu Shuang has Shinian's child in his belly, Baiya said. You said that Lu Shuang has Shinian's child in his belly? I'm not sure, Su Jiran told me. Baiya had a bad feeling and suddenly became nervous. Is it possible that Su Jiran wants to frame you through me again? Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened. Xiaoya, I promise you that within a month, I will definitely save Lu Shuang. I will be very, very careful. I was framed last time not because of you, but because I was too careless. Don't blame yourself. How could she not blame herself? If it weren't for the fact that Gu Lingqing trusted her, he wouldn't have investigated it clearly. Gu Lingqing said that because he didn't want her to feel guilty. However, she knew in her heart that it was clearer than a mirror. She would be paranoid and get into a dead end because she was emotional or cared too much about something. Save Lu Shuang within 3 months. Lu Shuang was pregnant, so Shinian shouldn't hurt Lu Shuang for the time being. If she aborted the child within 3 months, it would be too harmful to her body. Okay, Gu Lingqing replied. Take a bath. Baiya also took a bath. They didn't speak, and the atmosphere became subtle. She looked at him, and Gu Lingqing also looked at her. After he was done, he wrapped a bath towel around his waist, squatted down in front of Baiya and said softly, When are you going to marry me? Baiya didn't expect him to suddenly say this. Her heart was beating so fast that it seemed like it was about to jump out of her throat. Gu Lingqing slightly raised the corner of his mouth. We had a flash divorce, and then a flash marriage. Haha. Baiya looked at his smile, and her eyes and heart sank. The brighter he smiled, the gloomier she felt. However, cruel words had to be said. After all, she couldn't stay with him for long. Without Su Jiran's needle, she would die faster, and there were still many things she hadn't done. Chief, you're thinking too much. We're just making a deal. Gu Lingqing stopped smiling and looked at her determined eyes. His gaze was deep, and he didn't say anything. Baiya also felt that the word deal was too hurtful. She turned her face away, stood up, picked up the bath towel on the shelf, and wrapped it around her body with her back facing him. Gu Lingqing hugged her from behind, and his chest pressed against her back. I don't know why you always reject me so much, and why you don't hesitate to use words that are as sharp as knives to hurt our previous relationship. But I believe that I'm in your heart, so I'll wait for you to let go of your heart and tell me everything. Baiya, no matter what you become, no matter how old, how ugly, or how crazy you are, I love you. Even if you become a burden to me one day, I'm willing to carry you on my back and walk to the end of life together. You're not a burden to me, but a companion to me. Gu Lingqing confessed passionately. Baiya's tears instantly flowed out uncontrollably. These were the best words she had ever heard. Even though she was crying, her heart was still touched, and it touched the deepest part of her soul. She thought that her tears must have been heard by Baiya, who was hiding in the deepest part of her soul, right? So she was sad, she was touched, but she still didn't want to come out, because she knew that if she came out, she would face a parting of life and death. She couldn't accept it. Baiya wiped her tears handsomely, and turned to look at Gu Lingqing. I'm going back. Don't go. Gu Lingqing frowned and pleaded. Chapter 277. She had to go. I'll contact you again, Baiya said calmly, expressing her determination. Gu Lingqing frowned. He knew that once she made up her mind, he wouldn't be able to stop her. He could only take a step back. Let me send you. Baiya didn't refuse. After all, it would be difficult to leave his place. I'm staying at Xinyue Hotel near Wui Road, Baiya said. Gu Lingqing knew that she agreed. Wait for me to change. After the two of them changed, Gu Lingqing sent her back. Baiya leaned against the chair and looked out of the window. They didn't speak at all. Gu Lingqing's car was getting slower and slower. His friends on electric scooters overtook him. He couldn't help but turn around and give him the middle finger. Other than Baiya, who could easily cause his emotions to change, he was quite calm and didn't even look at them. Baiya was thinking about something. Later, When she saw that the people on bikes had overtaken her, she looked at Gu Lingqing. Gu Lingqing felt her gaze and felt guilty. He sped up a little and explained, "There's a red light ahead." "Oh," Baiya responded with one word. "When are you going to the military?" Gu Lingqing asked. Baiya's eyes darkened. She had promised to help him with the test, but it had been delayed until now. If she went to Gu Lingqing's military, Su Jiran would probably be angry. "I need to think about it," Baiya said ambiguously. Gu Lingqing looked at Baiya and stopped by the roadside. Baiya looked at him, puzzled. "What's wrong?" Gu Lingqing lifted her chin, lowered his head and kissed her lips. She didn't push him away, nor did she respond. She looked at him, her eyes almost crossed. She moved back a little. He didn't follow her, only looking at her deeply. She was afraid that Gu Lingqing's gaze would make her heart flutter and sink into it. She turned her face away and pretended to be indifferent to her current emotions. "Let's stop here. I have other places I want to go." She pushed the car door open, and Gu Lingqing held her arm. Baiya took a deep breath, adjusted his emotions, and looked back at him. "Let's see each other every day," Gu Lingqing said in a low voice. What he said was a statement, not a question. Heh. Baiya chuckled. She didn't know why, but his words made her heart ache. Her eyes were trembling, and she used a smile to hide her emotions. "Even if we're husband and wife, we don't see each other every day. Don't you need to go on business trips? Don't you have a job? Well, we won't see each other again. My job requires me to travel a lot. 4 times a week, no less," Gu Lingqing said domineeringly, as if it was a matter of course. If he threatened to save Lu Shuang, she would have no choice but to see him every day. She would also feel more pressure, pain, and annoyed. He didn't. She thanked him for respecting her, protecting her, and taking care of her emotions at this time. He didn't mention the deal that she mentioned first. This kind of Gu Lingqing would only make her more and more reluctant to leave this world. 3 times a week. "I'm afraid I can't do it 4 times. Baiya took a step back and said. A trace of emotion flashed through Gu Lingqing's eyes. He held the back of her head, pulled her to his side, and kissed her forehead. The wet kiss fell on her forehead. It was a kind of trust, love, reluctance, heartache, pity, and deep love. Baiya didn't move. She closed her eyes and felt his breath on the top of her head. She had an urge to hug him and respond to his feelings. But she couldn't do that. Gu Lingqing looked at her and said softly, "Be careful on the road. I don't want to give you too much pressure. Contact me if there's anything. Don't think that I'm so weak. At least, I'll do everything to protect you." Baiya's eyes were red. If she stayed, she would fall apart. She got out of the car and walked forward quickly. Tears were already flowing down her face uncontrollably. She didn't need him to do everything to protect her. She just wanted him to find a new girl and live a peaceful and happy life. She walked for a kilometer in one breath. She entered the shopping center and ran to the bathroom. She turned on the tap and splashed cold water on her face. She looked up at herself in the mirror. Her fingers tapped on the tap rhythmically. Suddenly, she retracted her hand, clenched her fist, and smiled bitterly. Baiya didn't want to forget Gu Lingqing. So she didn't use hypnosis to block her feelings for Gu Lingqing. She just didn't want her heart. Unfortunately, she hid in the depths of her soul and still loved him. How could she not be moved? She just wanted to be a little more rational, a little more normal, and a little more powerful. Then don't come out and make trouble. Baiya was furious. She took the vase beside her and smashed it on the mirror. The mirror broke into pieces and reflected dozens of herself. She looked at the dozens of herself in the mirror and gradually calmed down. She was originally a split personality of Baiya. She should do what Baiya wanted to do. She shouldn't hate Baiya. The cleaner of the shopping center came over and saw the broken mirror and the broken pieces of the vase on the ground. She asked Baiya in surprise, "What's going on? Did you see who smashed it?" Baiya turned around and looked at the cleaner. "I smashed it. Go and ask your leader how much I need to pay for it." The cleaner looked at Baiya with a strange expression. Baiya looked back at her coldly. "Then don't run away," the cleaner said. "I won't. If you're worried, I'll go with you," Baiya said in a low voice. "All right then, come with me." Baya followed the cleaner to the manager's office. The manager asked about the purchase and said to Baya, "It's a total of 1,000 yuan. I only have 400 yuan on me at the moment. I'm staying at the Xinhua Hotel. Please find an employee to follow me to get the money." Chapter 278. Baya smiled and looked at his cold face. "You and the Sujieron in my memory really haven't changed much. Where do you think I can go?" Sujieron saw the sarcasm and coldness in her eyes. That sentence didn't feel the same as the Sujieron in my memory. It was like a bomb exploding in his brain. He had changed a lot for her. Couldn't she see it? "Tell me, where did you go?" Sujieron said fiercely. It was as if she would go to hell the next second if she didn't say it. Baya looked at Sujieron calmly. "To do what I should do." "What should you do?" Sujieron asked. "There are many. Which one do you want to hear first?" Baya said calmly. Sujieron couldn't see her clearly. It was as if she was separated by mountains and rivers, and she would disappear in the next second. He desperately wanted to do something to prove that he still had her. Sujieron lowered his head and kissed her on the lips. Baya turned her face away subconsciously. Her action angered Sujieron even more. He turned her face and forcibly blocked her lips. His red tongue entered her mouth and rolled around wantonly. She was so angry that she couldn't breathe. But she couldn't push him away. The more she pushed him away, the angrier Sujieron would be. If he used force, how could she escape unscathed? She might as well take a gamble. She kissed him back. Sujieron was shocked. His eyes widened and he looked at her in surprise. Baya closed her eyes. She couldn't let him see through her thoughts. Otherwise, she would fail on the verge of success. Sujieron's eyes shone with passion. He kissed her even more fiercely, and the restraint on his hand loosened. She took the opportunity to turn around and push Sujieron against the wall. He squeezed her waist tightly and pulled her to his side. She felt his physiological changes. The thing on her abdomen was too hot, like steel. She quickly let go of him and took a step back. Sujieron held her waist again. The anger in his eyes disappeared, and was replaced by a desire that could not be dispelled. His eyes were bewitching and filled with desire. "Xiaoya, I want it," Sujieron said in a hoarse voice. His Adam's apple moved, his red lips slightly opened, and his breath was uneven. "It's not convenient for me now." Baya furrowed her brows. She was a little worried. She had forgotten to put on the pads. If Sujieron were to find out, she would probably be doomed. She looked at Sujieron cautiously. The man's cerebellum was starting to come into play. His brain was indeed not as smart as before. He stroked her red lips. "Use it here." After all, Baya was an adult and had reached the age of maturity. She immediately understood what he meant. She turned her face away. 3 months later. "When you were with Gu Lingqing, did you use this to help him?" Sujieron asked. His voice was deep, and his emotions could not be read. Baya did not know why he asked this question. However, if she gave an affirmative answer, Sujieron would definitely be angry. If he was angry, it would be hard for her to be safe. "My personality is rather cold," Baya said ambiguously. Sujieron smiled. "I'll teach you slowly in the future. I'll take a shower first. You can change your clothes. I'll take you out at night. Also, I hope you can tell me where we went." It was the same question. Previously he was at loggerheads. Now it was much easier to talk to him, and the danger was reduced a lot. Baya nodded. Sujieron let go of her waist, turned around, and walked into the washroom to take a cold shower. Helplessly, his little brother had not been comforted by a woman for a few years. He felt bloated and uncomfortable. He closed his eyes and thought of Baya's kiss just now. His palm was on it. Baya saw that he was taking a shower. She quickly changed her clothes and stuck a fake sanitary pad on it. Her mind was spinning quickly. Sujieron walked out of the bathroom 15 minutes later. His eyes were sparkling when he looked at her. They were filled with tenderness, ambiguity, and sexual temptation. Baya tried to stand calmly. He hugged her waist again and pulled her to his side. His body was still wet and cold. Now you should tell me where we went, right? We went to see my mom, Baya said calmly. Su Jiran did not believe it. He frowned. Do you have to dress like this to see your mom? She's in my treatment period now. She's recovering well, and she's in good spirits. It's not time for her to see me yet. Su Jiran still did not believe her. He scrutinized her expressionless face. Why didn't you bring your phone when you went to see your mom? I did it on purpose. I didn't want to be disturbed, Baya said confidently. The person you're talking about, are you talking about me? Or are you lying now? Su Jiran said in a low voice. Baya smiled sarcastically. There was not a hint of a smile in her eyes. Do you know why I don't want to say it? Many people always believe what they want to believe and instinctively reject what they don't want to believe. To them, reality is often not important. What's important is the outcome they want. So Su Jiran, you've already decided on the outcome and have your own guesses. No matter what I say, you won't believe it. To me, it doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. It's up to you. Su Jiran could tell that she was angry. All right, this matter is over. Every time I can't find you, I'm really anxious like a cat on a hot tin roof. I'll wait for you in your room and play with your phone. I've thought of many possibilities, and every one of them makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm going to explode. I'm going to explode. I used to be a very confident person, but you made me lose my confidence. Baya lowered her eyes. This world was full of lies, hypocrisy, and cunning. And she, unknowingly, had become the most hypocritical and cunning person. Because of the love in her heart, she killed others. Actually, she was not that great. Su Jiran, don't like me anymore. I'm not worthy of your love, Baya said coldly. Su Jiran held Baya's hand and kissed it. He smiled devilishly. I'm willing to use my entire life in exchange for you to turn back. Even if you don't turn back, we'll be bound together and grow old together. She retracted her hand and continued to lower her eyes. There were too many thoughts in her mind. Let's go eat. Baya followed him into the private room of the hotel. When she saw Xingbatian and his family, her eyes turned cold. Su Jiran always liked to arrange such a frightening event, and he never got tired of it. She had felt a little guilty for lying to him, but now, that trace of guilt had vanished into thin air. Jiran, why did you bring her here? Xingjinyan was the first to lose his cool. He stood up and glared at Baya as he said this angrily. Chapter 279. When Chang Rian saw this, her face immediately turned pale, and a wave of anger rushed to her brain. She slammed the table and helped Xingjinyan to scold Baya. Simply shameless. She even wants to snatch her sister's man. Bitches are born of bitches. Baya had been kissed by Su Jiran in public. She was also filled with pent-up anger. More importantly, he was hugging her too close, too hot, and too frustrated. She took the opportunity to push Su Jiran away and stared deeply at Chang Rian. She said bluntly, I was born from your husband. According to what you said, Xingjinyan is a slut. If you marry a slut, then aren't you even more slutty? How dare you? Xingbachuan roared. He looked at Baya as if he wanted to cut her into pieces. I'm treating my future son-in-law to a meal today. I have nothing to do with you. Get out now. Xingbachuan pointed at the door. Did he think that she wanted to come? If it weren't for Su Jiran, she wouldn't have wanted to see them. At most, she would just make herself uncomfortable. Baya walked toward the door. Su Jiran grabbed Baya's arm. Baya was instantly enraged. She flung Su Jiran's hand away and glared at Su Jiran. He pulled her into his embrace with brute force and hugged her shoulders. Where are we going? You're my future wife. No matter what, you should stay with me. Su Jiran, what do you mean by this? Tell me clearly. Xingjinyan couldn't stay calm anymore. He ran over and pulled Su Jiran over. Su Jiran looked at Xingjinyan coldly. What do you want me to say? Isn't that clear enough? Xingjinyan widened his eyes and clenched his fists. He felt wronged. How can you do this to me? I waited for you for 3 years and wasted 3 years of my youth on you. Now you don't want me anymore? In the past 3 years you've earned hundreds of millions, right? Isn't the loss of youth compensation enough? Su Jiran asked. Can a woman's youth be measured by money? What about my feelings for you? How do you calculate that? Feelings? Su Jiran smirked. Have you ever had feelings for me? Or is it a measure of conditions and money? Of course, why else would I stay with you? After being with you, I've never met another man, Xing Jinyan said firmly. Su Jiran picked up his phone and sent a few videos to Xing Jinyan. Take a look at your phone. Xing Jinyan saw that he was texting her. She immediately took out her phone from her bag and saw the 4 videos Su Jiran had sent. She had a bad feeling and clicked on it. The first was her leaving the bar with a foreign man and entering the hotel. The second was the whole process of her party in a private club. The third was the scene of her and a few men in the hotel. The fourth was the scene of her doing something indescribable with a man in the airport lounge. Xing Jinyan's face paled when she saw the video. Do you want to see more? I have a lot of them, Su Jiran said with a smile. You've been following me? Xing Jinyan asked. If you don't have a guilty conscience, why would you be afraid of being followed? So your so-called youth and so-called feelings are just a joke in my eyes, Su Jiran said sarcastically. Su Jiran, you're a scum. When you were with Baiya, you seduced me. When you were with me, you hooked up with Baiya. You're a scum. Xing Jinyan was furious. Go ahead and scold me. I'll post a video online for every word you say. I'll post 2 videos for every word you say. I'll post 3 videos for every word you say. This kind of video should be very popular. It's high definition and uncensored, Su Jiran said calmly. Xing Jinyan was speechless. She had always known that Su Jiran was a bad person. But when he was bad, it was really infuriating. Forget it. You've served me well for the past 3 years. Baiya only picked up a pair of broken shoes that I didn't want. Get lost, Xing Jinyan said with a different expression. Chang Rian looked at Xing Jinyan, and then at Xing Bachuan. She felt that the video was definitely not a good thing. Seeing that her daughter's attitude had changed, she sat by the side and didn't say anything. Heh. Su Jiran chuckled and turned around with Baiya in his arms. Stop, Xing Bachuan shouted. My daughter isn't someone you can bully. Su Jiran, I'm giving you one last chance. You can still turn back, kneel, and apologize to Xiaoyan. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude to you in the future. Su Jiran smiled meaningfully. Do you think you still have a future? What do you mean? Xing Bachuan was annoyed. You'll know what I mean very soon. Su Jiran walked away with his arms around Baiya. Baiya turned around and looked at Xing Bachuan, Xing Jinyan, and Chang Rian. She knew that Su Jiran had begun his revenge. Su Jiran had said that sentence. Do you think you still have a future? He was definitely ready. Xing Bachuan and Xing Jinyan probably wouldn't have such a bright and beautiful life in the future. When they went out, Su Jiran asked Baiya, did you feel good just now? Look at my face. Do you think I'll feel good? I just watched a good show, and I'm just a bystander, Baiya said calmly. Xing Jinyan bullied you previously. I've already retaliated against her. Don't you feel good? Su Jiran was puzzled. Those little tricks of hers are nothing in my eyes. I don't even care about them. How could she bully me? I'll treat you to dinner. I have a favor to ask of you, Baiya said solemnly. What is it? I know that you've already begun your revenge. When the time comes, give me Xing Bachuan for a month. I have use for him. Su Jiran raised his brows. For your mother? Baiya nodded. Yes. Su Jiran's lips curled up. He hugged Baiya's waist. Then can I bring the 1-month deadline forward? I'm having a hard time holding it in. Baiya slowly clenched her fists and looked at Su Jiran's devilish eyes. He was ambitious and determined to get what he wanted. If she stayed by his side, it would be like asking a tiger for its skin, but there was no other way. I can't answer you now. It depends on my mood at that time. Maybe it will be earlier than you think, Baiya said ambiguously. Anyway, you can't escape from me. I want to eat seafood today. Let's go. I know a good seafood restaurant, but it's a little far. Su Jiran held her hand and walked in front. Baiya furrowed her brows. Now that it was like this, she could only take it one day at a time and deal with it when it came. Chapter 280. I want to treat you to dinner tonight. Are you free? Zhou Hailan said softly. I'm sorry, I'm not free tonight. I'm treating someone to dinner. Baiya rejected him directly. How about tomorrow at noon? I have something very important to tell you. You can say it on the phone. It's the same. It's not like we have to meet. Baiya subconsciously did not want to see Zhou Hailan. There was no reason. She just did not want to. I have something to give you. I'll wait for you in room 302 of Ziyuan restaurant tomorrow. Be there or be square. After Zhou Hailan said that, he did not wait for Baiya to speak and hung up the phone. Baiya kept her phone and put it in her bag. Who is it? Su Jiran asked curiously. Zhou Hailan. Baiya did not lie. If she's looking for you, I advise you not to go. I don't think it's anything good. By the way, I heard that Gu Lingqing did not marry her. He gave her the house and savings under his name, Su Jiran said with an unclear expression. Let me think about it. Baiya did not directly say that she did not want to go. Su Jiran frowned. Don't get too close to her. She's not as simple as she looks. As long as she's an adult, she's not simple. Su Jiran, are you simple? Baiya retorted. Su Jiran put his arm around her shoulders and looked at her. What's wrong? Are you angry? Come on. Tell me why you're angry. I'm all ears. I think you don't respect me. You just want to control me. It's my freedom to see you or not, Baiya expressed. Su Jiran tapped her nose. I don't want to control you. I just care about you. All right, let's not talk about this. Let's go eat. I'm hungry. Su Jiran pushed her away. He did not seem to want to communicate with her. He really just wanted to control her. Baiya turned her face away in annoyance and saw a sneaky figure hiding, revealing only a small part of his cap. Someone was following them. Was that person following her or Su Jiran? Su Jiran, Baiya shouted. Someone is following us. Let's talk in the car, Su Jiran said in a low voice. In that case, that person was not one of Su Jiran's men? She didn't like being followed, so she didn't say anything and followed Su Jiran into the car. Don't look back, Su Jiran reminded. He fastened his seatbelt and drove. Baiya looked at the rearview mirror. A tall, thin man wearing a cap walked out and got into the car. Who are they? Baiya asked. I don't know. Sit tight, Su Jiran said in a low voice. A similar light flashed in his eyes as he drove. The car sped along the road. It was rush hour. Su Jiran drove like a madman, driving recklessly. She grabbed the handle of the car door and remembered that 3 years ago, Su Jiran also drove recklessly on the road. In the past, Gu Lingqing saved her. Now she was alone. Slow down. You'll hit someone, Baiya reminded. Are you worried about my driving skills? Su Jiran frowned as soon as he finished speaking. Also, your protection is actually hurting me, Baiya said angrily. She still had things for Su Jiran to do. If Su Jiran was locked up, it would only delay her progress. After a month, she did not know how to get out of this unscathed. What she needed was speed. Gu Lingqing felt her anger and fell silent. She knew that he was doing this because he cared about her. She should not vent her anger on him. She took a deep breath and adjusted her emotions. Don't do this in the future. Xiaoya, why do you want to stay by Su Jiran's side? Are there things that he can do that I can't? Gu Lingqing asked directly. Don't worry about my affairs. I have my own ideas. Just do your own things. That's all. I'm hanging up. Baiya hung up the phone directly. Gu Lingqing narrowed his eyes. He felt that there must be things that Su Jiran could do that he couldn't. What were those things? Chapter 281. She deleted the number, threw her phone on the bedside table, and lay on the bed. She was too tired and fell asleep without taking a shower. That night, she had a dream. She dreamt that she was sitting on a boat, surrounded by a lake that she could not see the edge of. The surface of the lake was sparkling, reflecting her face. Gu Lingqing was also sitting on the boat. He leaned over, kissed her, took off her clothes, and did shameful things with her. When she felt comfortable, Gu Lingqing's face turned into Su Jieran's. She was shocked and wanted to escape in a panic. Su Jieran held her waist, not letting her go, and forced himself on her. She kicked him away in fear. She had nowhere to retreat, and jumped into the lake. At the bottom of the lake, she saw a woman who was also naked. She swam towards her. It was a face that looked exactly like hers, and it was tearful. Her arm tightened. Gu Lingqing held her hand and swam upwards. She turned around. The woman had already stood up and was waving at her. Baiya's heart tightened. She suddenly woke up and sat up. She was covered in sweat. Did you have a nightmare? Su Jieran asked. Baiya was surprised to see him. Her eyes were wide open, and her eyelashes were trembling. Perhaps it was because she had just woken up, and her mind was not very clear yet. She fell back onto the bed and closed her eyes. Su Jieran chuckled. Baiya, you're quite cute sometimes. Baiya heard Su Jieran's voice clearly. She was sure that he was really in her room. She opened her eyes again. When did you get here? I just came in for a minute. Su Jieran bent his arm and looked at the watch on it. Baiya also grabbed the phone on the bedside table. She looked at the time. It was already 6:20 in the morning. Have breakfast with me. I have to go back and rest for a while after eating. Su Jieran used a declarative sentence. Baiya did not want to argue with him. It would be more troublesome if he stayed here to sleep. I'm going to wash up, Baiya said. She entered the bathroom, locked the door and took a shower. She changed into yesterday's clothes and brushed her teeth. It seemed like she should buy some clothes. It took her 15 minutes to get out of the bathroom. Let's go. Su Jieran walked in front of her. Baiya followed behind him, keeping a distance of 1 meter between them. Did you call Gu Lingqing and ask him to let me go? Su Jieran suddenly asked. No, why do you ask? Baiya lowered her eyes. It's strange that he suddenly let me go. Could it be that he doesn't want you to treat me to seafood? The corners of Su Jieran's mouth twitched. His eyes were filled with disbelief as he looked at Baiya dotingly. Baiya's head was still lowered as he thought about the dream he had. He was a little flustered. Su Jieran waved his hand in front of her. What are you daydreaming about? What are you thinking about? Think about the dream you had just now. Some scientists who study dreams say that dreams can reflect the condition of the body, which is also due to the influence of life and environment. Sometimes dreams can give people enlightenment, Baiya said thoughtfully. What kind of dream did you have? Tell me about it. Perhaps I can answer it for you, Su Jieran said with a smile. Baiya gave him a strange look. She would never tell him about her dream. You're not an expert. Let's go and have breakfast. I'll go buy some clothes after that. Do you need me to accompany you? Su Jieran asked. Baiya shook his head. I can do it alone. Su Jieran took out a card from his wallet and handed it to Baiya. The password is 333520. Baiya pushed his hand away. I have money. I'm not used to using other people's. Su Jieran knew that if she said she didn't need it, she wouldn't use his. 3 years ago, Baiya was so poor. Now that Baiya was rich, it was even more so. Okay then, I'll treat you to a movie tonight. He put his arm around her waist and walked into the elevator with her. Baiya looked at her reflection on the elevator. Because she hated her hypocritical self, she lowered her eyes. As soon as they got out of the elevator, Su Jieran's phone rang. He saw that it was Xing Jinyan's caller ID. He answered the call and pressed the speaker button. What's wrong? Su Jieran, my father was taken away by the discipline inspection team early in the morning. Did you do it? Xing Jinyan complained angrily. I'm not in charge of discipline inspection. I don't have that much power. You said yesterday that my father didn't have a chance. If it wasn't you, who else could it be? Xing Jinyan was very agitated. If your father didn't do anything wrong, he'll be innocent. It doesn't matter if he's taken away by the discipline inspection team. He'll be released. If he's done all kinds of evil and abused his power for personal gain, it's normal that he can't be released. I'm going to have breakfast now. I don't have time to listen to your complaints. Bye. Su Jieran hung up. He hung up the phone. You're quite fast, Baya said in a low voice. Because of you, I'm already 3 years late. The information I have is enough to sentence Xing Bachuan and Xing Jinyan to death. But I promised to give him to you for a month, so I'll play slowly, Su Jiran explained and opened the door of the front passenger seat. Baya got into the car and put on her seatbelt. Su Jiran was quite scary. The power and influence behind him were not inferior to Gu Lingqing's. For the sake of Gu Lingqing's safety, she should actually let Su Jiran see her determination towards Gu Lingqing. Su Jiran got into the driver's seat and drove Baya to have breakfast. The sun shone on her snow-white face, making it even more dazzling. Su Jiran held her hand, enjoying the silence and the space with her around. Even though they did not speak, he could feel the sweetness in the air. Baya's phone rang. She was shocked and took it out of her bag. It was Cheng Jinrong's. She was surprised that Cheng Jinrong would call at this time. She answered the phone and greeted politely. Good morning. Baya, are you still treating Governor Lu's son? Cheng Jinrong asked worriedly. That day, because of the incident with Lu Shuang, she left without saying goodbye to Cheng Jinrong. She was a little apologetic. Well, I have to go back to City A. Governor Lu interfered with my treatment process, so my contract with him has been terminated. What's wrong? That's good. It shouldn't involve you. Cheng Jinrong breathed a sigh of relief. What happened? Baya had a bad feeling. Do you still remember that Lu Xingzhou's son raped the campus belle? I know. Lu Xingzhou's family should have used money to deal with this matter. What's wrong? Did something similar happen? This morning, the campus belle's family was killed. Now the police are investigating. I suspect that it was done by that kid, so I'm worried about your situation, Cheng Jinrong explained. Baya's eyes dimmed. Becoming a demon with a single thought. Becoming a Buddha with a single thought. Most of the time, a child's worldview was led by their parents. Lu Biao was originally a very intelligent child. Unfortunately, his outlook on life was distorted by his parents. She could do nothing about it. Chapter 282. Baya hung up the phone and was still deep in thought. What's wrong? Su Jiran asked and held her cold hand. Baya shook her head. I heard some shocking news, so I'm a little emotional. You always think too much and keep everything in your heart. It's easy to take things too hard. Xiaoya, you should make more friends, Su Jiran suggested. The friendship between gentlemen is as indifferent as water. Those who are blacklisted on QQ are usually those who have a good chat with them and are treated as friends. Those who don't talk much can stay safely. Sometimes, friends are scarier than enemies. I'd rather have no friends than have a bad one, Baya retorted. Su Jiran nodded. You're right. It's enough for you to have me. Baya laughed and looked out of the window. Why did he feel that her laughter made him feel especially uncomfortable? We've arrived at the place where we're eating, Su Jiran reminded them and stopped the car at the entrance. Baya recognized the Hummer next to them. It seemed to be Gu Lingqing's. He frowned. Su Jiran would feel uncomfortable if he didn't do something every day, right? Gu Lingqing and Lieutenant Colonel Song walked out from the car. Su Jiran curled the corner of his mouth. What a coincidence. I didn't expect to bump into you while having breakfast. When did City A become so small? Gu Lingqing's cold gaze swept across Su Jiran's charming face. Whether or not we can bump into each other depends on whether CEO Su has a heart or not. If he has a heart, we can bump into each other anytime and anywhere. If we're talking about a heart, how can I compare to you, Chief Gu? I'm puzzled. When your people saw me having sex with Baya and reported it to you, did you feel better? Su Jiran said sarcastically. It's my own business whether I'm happy or not. Are you afraid of being stared at because you've done too many bad things? Gu Lingqing asked back. If I had done a lot of bad things, I wouldn't be safe and sound now. But Chief Gu, you have to be careful with your words and actions. You were lucky last time, but Lady Luck won't always be on your side. To be exact, Su Jiran paused, put his arm around Baya's waist and pulled her. The goddess is already standing by my side. Gu Lingqing twitched the corner of her mouth, and looked at Su Jiran with a secretive look. Then you should cherish your goddess. I will also cherish my goddess. I'm getting married soon. I'll write the wedding invitation and send it to you. Baya was flabbergasted. Waves flowed through her calm eyes as she looked at Gu Lingqing in astonishment. Su Jiran was also shocked and blurted out. You're getting married? With whom? I don't need to report to you who I'm marrying. You're on your own. Gu Lingqing said arrogantly and passed by them. Lieutenant Colonel Song hurriedly opened the door of the back seat. Gu Lingqing sat in the car expressionlessly and didn't even look at Baya. Baya's back was stiff and her head was buzzing. She didn't look back either. Gu Lingqing's car passed by them again and sped away. Baya stared at Gu Lingqing's car as it left. She had always hoped that Gu Lingqing could forget her, find a suitable woman to marry and have children with, and live happily ever after. He was finally going to marry another woman and stop pestering her. Her heart hurt instead. It hurt so much that she felt as if there were 3 mountains pressing on her. It was so heavy that she couldn't even breathe. However, she had to pretend that her heart didn't hurt. Her palms became colder. No wonder he suddenly let me go. It turns out that he has a new lover. Su Jiran guessed and looked at Baya. Let's go in for breakfast. I'm very hungry, Baya said lightly. I've reserved room 203, Su Jiran said. They entered the room. Baya lowered her head and flipped through the menu casually. In fact, she couldn't pay attention to a word. Her mind was still recalling what Gu Lingqing said. I'm getting married soon. In the world, how many people who loved each other could get together? After marriage and time, how many people who loved each other continued to love each other? She had seen too many wounds of love. Because it was too tiring and too lonely to live. Perhaps after the parents died, and the children started a new family, they would realize that they were the loneliest person in the world. She envied penguins. Penguins were social animals. They would only have one partner in their lifetime. Even if their partner died, they would not remarry. Xiaoya, Xiaoya, Xiaoya. When Baya heard Su Jiran calling her, she raised her head and looked at Su Jiran. He narrowed his eyes and looked at her coldly. Are you sad? I've called you many times, but you can't hear me. Baya's eyes were misty. Her eyes were red, but her tone was calm and light. She was neither humble nor arrogant, and there was no fluctuation of emotion. If I tell you now that I'm not sad, you won't believe me. In fact, I'm really sad. Su Jiran's face turned pale. You're sad that Gu Lingqing is getting married. I'm sad about myself. When I loved you, you wantonly hurt me. When I fell in love with Gu Lingqing, he completely forgot about me. Now. Baya paused and lowered her eyes. Tears flowed down. Perhaps, I shouldn't have survived. What nonsense are you talking about? Su Jiran was agitated. He held Baya's wrist, and his eyes were red. He warned. Listen carefully, I won't allow it. If you dare to commit suicide, I swear that I will destroy everyone, things you care about, including your mother, Gu Lingqing and Lu Shuang. Baya looked at her wrist. He was obviously very strong, but she didn't feel any pain at all. Do you think I still care about them now? You care about them, Su Jiran said with certainty. Baya raised the corner of her mouth and tasted her salty tears. Yes, she still cared about them. Now that he was still alive, it was a responsibility. The hardships, grievances, and agitation of life would make her give up, be willful, and be impulsive. But after thinking it through, she still had a lot of things to do. Living was easy to die. Dead, but could never come back to life. I want to go to the washroom. Baya said softly. It was so soft, like the soft language of Wunong. It sounded like a request. Su Jiran turned his face away and nodded. Baya stood up and walked quickly to the washroom. She squatted in the last cubicle of the washroom and cried happily. She finally used her coldness, willfulness, and heartlessness to force away the man who loved her the most, and she also loved the most. From now on, he went his own way, and she went hers. They would never have anything to do with each other again. She was happy for him, but also sad for herself. So, after one last cry, Baya could live like a machine. Chapter 283. She cried for more than 10 minutes. Her face was covered with tears and snot. Her eyes were red and swollen. She cried until she couldn't breathe. Her mind was blank. Then she came out of the toilet, walked to the mirror, and washed her face. He raised his head and looked at himself in the mirror. Taking a deep breath, he pressed his finger on the mirror and caressed Baiye's face. He said softly, "Don't be sad. Gulingqing is gone. I will always be by your side and protect you. From today onwards, no one will be able to hurt you." The cleaner came in and looked at Baiye with a weird expression. Baiye glanced at the cleaner, straightened her back, and walked out of the restroom. The moment the door closed, she heard the cleaner say, "Lunatic." Her whole body trembled, and her hands were trembling. She pushed the door open, and her sharp eyes swept over the cleaner. She snapped, "What did you say?" Seeing that Baiye was angry, the cleaner immediately corrected herself. "I didn't say anything. What's wrong?" "If I hear you again, I'll sue you for slander," warned Baiye. He turned around and walked towards room 203. Su Jiran's breakfast was served, but he didn't eat it. He was playing with his phone when he saw Baiye enter. He stared at her eyes. "You're crying." "Don't worry about it. It's just a way of venting my emotions. I'll be fine after I'm done crying. I've also recognized the reality." Baiye pulled out a chair and sat across from Su Jiran. The corners of Su Jiran's mouth curled up slightly. He put his phone aside and asked, "What reality have you realized?" "If I want to live a good life in the future, you will be my God. I will die against God and live according to God." Baiye said expressionlessly. Su Jiran was suspicious. "Are you telling the truth?" "It's true. It can't be fake. Even if it's fake, it can't be real. Hurry up and eat your breakfast. After that, go back and have a good rest. We still have to fight side by side in the future," Baiye said solemnly. Su Jiran clasped her hand and held it tightly between her fingers. He liked the phrase "fight side by side." "Xiaoya, have you ever thought that after going through so many ups and downs, we are still together now? Perhaps we are destined to be together?" Su Jiran said softly. Baiye didn't deny it. His lips curled up. "Perhaps. No one knows what the road ahead will be like. Cherish it as you go." "I will cherish you. I swear, as long as you never leave me, I will never leave you," Su Jiran promised. Baiye smiled. When two people loved each other, vows were sweet. If they were not in love with each other, the vow would become a burden. After breakfast, Su Jiran went back, and she went to the mall to buy clothes. When she arrived at the shopping mall, it was not open yet. She sat on a wooden bench by the roadside and looked at the various people and vehicles passing by. The sun was just right, and when it shone on her, she felt a little sleepy. Mississippi, a young man came over on a skateboard and handed a lipstick to Baiye. "Can I trouble you to print a lipstick print on my clothes?" Baiye didn't take the lipstick from him. She frowned slightly. "You should be in school at this time, right?" The young man had a strange look on his face. "Sorry to trouble you. If you agree, I'll give you the lipstick." Baiye looked at him. Her eyes flickered, and she looked to the right from time to time. There were two other young men watching from the right. "Did you make a bet with your friends?" Baiye guessed. The young man smiled shyly. "They all said that you're good-looking. They bet $100 with me." "Do you think that good-looking girls will like kids who play truant?" Baiye asked in return. The young man didn't say anything. Knowledge can change a person's life. It can increase one's charm and make one more cultured and elegant. Do you want to marry a beautiful girl when you grow up? Or do you want to marry an average girl and be despised by your wife? Baiye said with a smile. She took out the lipstick from her bag and applied it. She licked her lips. The young master looked at Baiye with hope. He was a little emotional. "I can leave a lipstick mark on your clothes. The condition is that you have to go back to school for lessons. Do you agree to go back to school?" Baiye asked. Yes, the young master said immediately. Baiye left a lipstick mark on the young master's clothes. The young master rode his skateboard away excitedly. Baiye looked at the three young masters leaving and smiled elegantly. The world of children was really pure and simple. They were satisfied with just a lipstick mark on their clothes. They didn't think much and hoped for little. The shopping mall opened. Baya went in and bought 3 sets of clothes, including her underwear. After she was done, she took a taxi back to the hotel. She took a shower and washed her new underwear. She used an iron to iron them dry. The rest were sent to be cleaned. Her phone rang. She saw that it was Zhou Hailan. She remembered that Zhou Hailan had asked her to meet at noon last night. She really didn't think that there was any need to meet Zhou Hailan. She didn't answer and hung up. The phone rang again. She saw that it was still Zhou Hailan and answered. What's the matter? I'm already in room 302 of Ziyuan Tower. When are you coming? Zhou Hailan asked. I'm not coming. I'm sorry. I have something for you. Please come. Otherwise, I won't leave here. 1 day, 2 days, 1 month, 2 months. I'll wait for you until you come, Zhou Hailan said firmly. Baya frowned. If she didn't go, it would be too unreasonable. I'll come in an hour, Baya said in a low voice. She changed into new clothes without makeup and went to room 302 of Ziyuan Tower. In addition to Zhou Hailan, there was a 5 or 6-year-old child in the room. She looked a bit like Zhou Hailan. She guessed that she was the child of Zhou Hailan and Gu Lingqing. Why are you looking for me? Baya asked directly. Zhou Hailan held Baya's hand. You're finally willing to see me. That's great. Here's the thing. Actually, Gu Lingqing and I aren't married at all. We just have an inexplicable agreement. Baya was silent and didn't answer. Zhou Hailan continued. Gu Lingqing doesn't want to marry me. I know that you're the only one in his heart. So I agree to void the agreement. However, Gu Lingqing gave me 3 houses under his name and 1.08 million in cash. I can't take these things. Please give them back to Gu Lingqing. Please give them back to Gu Lingqing. He must have his reasons for doing that. Since he gave it to you, you should take it. This is what you and your child deserve, Baya said in a low voice. Wait a minute. Wait for me. Zhou Hailan walked out of the room without saying anything. Baya looked at the child. If her child hadn't died, he would be about the same age as him. Without Gu Lingqing, Zhou Hailan at least had this child. She wouldn't feel lonely anymore. Chapter 284. Don't go with strangers. I'm not familiar with you. You can ask your mom to bring you to the place you want to go, Baya said gently as she rubbed the child's head. My mom can't know about that place. Otherwise, I'll be taken away. But I'm going to get something very important. Auntie, I trust you. Can you please help me? Otherwise, I'll die, the child pleaded. Where are you going? What are you going to get? Baya asked defensively. It's a map that I hid in the past. I have to go there to know exactly where it's buried. I've made a mark, the child said. Baya frowned and scrutinized the child. What map? It's about the base. I'm going to get it from my dad, the child said. Baya's lips twitched. She could tell that the child's logic was wrong. Then you should look for your dad directly and tell him about the map, not me. Baya rejected him tactfully. The child was angry. Are you going to take me or not? Why can't your mom know about the base's map? Why would you be taken away after your mom found out? Why will you die if I don't help you? Baya asked a few questions in a row. The child couldn't come up with any good excuses. He picked up the ashtray on the table and hit his head hard. Blood flowed out. Baya didn't move. She narrowed her eyes and looked at him. He threw the ashtray at Baya's feet, ran out of the room, and shouted, She hit me, Mom. She hit me. She hit me. Baya stood at the door of the private room and watched the child run out. She knew that it was a trap in front of her. Why would she chase after him? She wouldn't foolishly stay there and wait for Zhou Hailan to come back and question her. Gu Lingqing was going to marry someone else soon. This person wasn't her, nor was it Zhou Hailan. There was no point in Zhou Hailan fighting with her. Moreover, she didn't have the energy to complicate matters. Baya left from the back door and walked back to the hotel. Half an hour later, she had just returned to her hotel room when her phone rang. She saw that it was from Zhou Hailan and picked up the call. Baya, are you guys not in the private room anymore? I came back to look for you, but no one was there. Your son asked me to take him to a place. Do you know where that place is? Baya asked. What? A place? Where? Zhou Heilan's tone was filled with confusion. He said that mother can't know about that place. If mother knows, he will be taken away and will die. I've already told Gu Lingqing about this, Baya said coldly. What does that mean? Did Xiao Xian really say that? Where is he now? Zhou Heilan asked. He smashed his head with an ashtray and rushed out of the private room. I don't know where he went. Right after Baya said that, Zhou Heilan hung up the phone. She frowned and looked at Xiao Xian, who was standing beside her. You've caused me so much trouble this time. Why did you say that I can't know about it, and that I will be taken away and die? If that's the case, your father will think that I'm a bad person. Xiao Xian looked at Zhou Heilan in fear. She doesn't want to go with me? Run away now. If your father finds you, deny it immediately and say that you didn't say anything. It was Baya who hit you. You have to be firm. If necessary, continue to use the trick of injuring yourself. If you use it now, it's for our future happiness. Understand? Zhou Heilan instructed. I understand, Mom. I won't let that bad woman take Dad away, Xiao Xian said and continued to run towards the back alley. Zhou Heilan called Gu Lingqing worriedly. Ah Qing, something happened to Xiao Xian. I can't find him anywhere. How is that possible? Gu Lingqing asked. I made an appointment with Baya today. I wanted to return your property ownership certificate to you. I asked Xiao Xian and Baya to be alone. But when I returned to the private room, Baya and Xiao Xian were gone. I called Baya just now and Baya said that she saw Xiao Xian rushing out. She doesn't know where Xiao Xian went. Xiao Xian is very obedient. Why did he suddenly rush out? Zhou Heilan directed all the blame to Baya. I understand. Let's find Xiao Xian first. Gu Lingqing hung up the phone without hesitation. Baya rested for half an hour. Then, she went to a ramen shop near the hotel to eat noodles. When she was halfway through her ramen, her phone rang. She saw that it was an unfamiliar number. She picked up the call. If you want the child to live, come to Qingshan Park. You must have called the wrong number, Baya said calmly. She lowered her head and continued to eat her noodles. You are Baya, right? Xiao Xian is in our hands. If you don't come in 2 hours, you will only see his corpse, the person on the other side warned. You should be looking for the child's father or mother. You can also look for the child's grandparents. I have nothing to do with this child. I'm sorry. Also, if you call me again, I will call the police. You're on your own, Baya said and hung up the phone. Yes. The person on the other side. After she finished eating, she paid. She was curious about what the other party was up to. She drove to Qingshan Park. From afar, she saw Gu Lingqing. Daddy, that woman hit me. She wanted to hit me again, so I ran away, Xiao Xian complained. You said that Baya hit you? How is that possible? Xiao Xian, don't talk nonsense. How could she hit you? Zhou Heilan said in disbelief. That woman hit me. She even forced me to say that there's something wrong with my mother. If I didn't say anything, she would hit me. Xiao Xian pursed her lips and said pitifully. Zhou Heilan observed Gu Lingqing's expression and said gently, there must be a misunderstanding. I believe in Baya's character. Gu Lingqing looked at Xiao Xian with a cold expression. He squatted down and said, you don't want Baya to be your mother, do you? Zhou Heilan immediately realized the trap in his words. He said immediately, why would I? Baya is educated and reasonable. He's someone I can trust. Gu Lingqing glanced at Zhou Heilan and said calmly, you know Baya's character. Of course you would think so. Xiao Xian is still young. He will only judge based on his supervisor. Xiao Xian's opinion is very important to me. Zhou Heilan was speechless by Gu Lingqing. He did not know what to say. Xiao Xian seemed to have found a resonance. She said, I don't want her to be my mother. I have a mother. Why should I want someone else to be my mother? So you're using this method to frame her? Gu Lingqing looked at Xiao Xian's forehead. But she doesn't know that I'm going to marry someone else. What you're doing is useless. Don't do anything that will hurt yourself in the future. Zhou Hailan was shocked. You're not going to marry Baiya. Why? Baiya is so good. Chapter 285. Why? What did I do wrong? Zhou Hailan's eyes turned red and he looked at Gu Lingqing anxiously. Xiao Xian has learned to torture himself at such a young age. If you don't correct his character, he will become darker when he grows up. Do you think you have corrected him? Gu Lingqing said bluntly. I don't believe that Baiya hit him either. Why didn't I correct him? You can't wrong me. At least I didn't do anything wrong to you. Zhou Hailan felt wronged. Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened and he stopped talking. Let me take you to the hospital first. Xiao Xian's head is injured. He needs to be checked. Zhou Hailan turned around and saw Baiya in the distance. His eyes flickered and he said to Gu Lingqing, carry Xiao Xian. Even if he did something wrong, he is still a child. I don't want him to feel no love. That will only make his character more twisted. Gu Lingqing carried Xiao Xian who was injured. Xiao Xian wrapped her arms around Gu Lingqing's neck. Dad, who are you going to marry? I want you to be with Mom. Even if Mom and Dad are not together, we will still love you. Don't worry. But I can't see you. Xiao Xian felt wronged. From now on, I will make time to see you 4 times a month. Gu Lingqing promised. Baiya watched the family of 3 walk to the other side. The father loved the mother, and the mother were kind. They were happy and harmonious. It was a beautiful scene. And she was just a drop in the ocean. She couldn't even handle her own affairs well. She couldn't care less about other people's family affairs. She rolled up the window. Now she and Gu Lingqing were nothing. Would Gu Lingqing still help her to save Lu Shuang? She didn't have the cheek to ask him about it. She took out her phone and was about to call Su Jiran when Mu Xiaosheng called. Baiya answered the call. Hello, Xiaosheng. Baiya, are you still in a city? Mu Xiaosheng asked anxiously. Yes, what's wrong? Help. Let me tell you, there's an extremely vicious murder case in Jinyuan City, and Governor Lu's son is involved in it. The child was very stubborn. After he was caught, he only said that he didn't do it and didn't say anything else. His identity was special, so the police did not dare to use extreme measures. So they asked for help from the higher-ups. Now they are pressuring me. You're the most capable one here. Mu Xiaosheng said anxiously. Baiya remained silent. She promised to help Mu Xiaosheng complete the 12 tasks, but she subconsciously rejected LV Biao's case. When Mu Xiaosheng saw that Baiya didn't answer, he was even more uncertain. In the past, Baiya answered very simply. I'll tell you the truth. My task was pressured, so I had to send someone to do it. But the people here heard that it involves a high-ranking official, so no one is willing to go. Only I can go. The problem is that I'm not a criminal psychologist, but I'm the director of the hospital. If I go, not only will it be useless, but it will also affect the hospital's reputation. Mu Xiaosheng tried to persuade her. I know. I'll go, Baiya replied. After all, she owed Mu Xiaosheng a favor. Mu Xiaosheng promised to help Lu Shuang without hesitation, so she shouldn't refuse. Baiya, you're really my benefactor. Are you free this afternoon? I'll buy you a train ticket. I'll send the document to the director. Okay. Send me a message when you've booked the train ticket. I'll go back to pack and check out. That's great. I'll book a presidential suite for you in Jinyuan City. I'll send you a message later. Mu Xiaosheng seemed to be afraid that she would regret it, so he quickly hung up the phone. Baiya went back to the hotel to pack her luggage. When she checked out of her room, she received a message from Mu Xiaosheng. He had booked a train for her at 17:20 p.m., and the train would arrive at Jinyuan City at 21:40 p.m. He had also booked a presidential suite at Jinyuan International Hotel for her. He had already paid for the room, and the money was directly bound to his credit card. She would be charged for 1 night's stay. If it weren't for the fact that she didn't have much time, she and Mu Xiaosheng might have become good friends. On her way to the train station, Baiya called Su Jiran. Darling, how did you know that I just woke up? Let's have dinner together tonight. Su Jiran's evil voice sounded. We can't have dinner together tonight. The research institute has received a mission. I need to go to Jinyuan City to help the police solve the case. When I come back, I want to meet Lu Shuang. Can you help me arrange it? Baiya asked. You're going to Jinyuan City? Why didn't you tell me earlier? Su Jiran was a little unhappy. I just found out. I didn't know earlier. Can you help me? Baiya asked again. How long will you be gone? Su Jiran frowned. Baiya heard Su Jiran's promise. Although Su Jiran was a ruthless person, he would usually do what he promised. Baiya breathed a sigh of relief. She would meet Lu Shuang first before planning how to save Lu Shuang. I don't know how long it will take. If it's fast, a day. If it's slow, it shouldn't be more than half a month. I'll contact you then. Half a month? The effect of my medicine is 1 month. Remember to come back within a month. Otherwise, even the gods won't be able to save you. Also, do you know who Gu Lingqing is going to marry? Su Jiran asked suspiciously. Baiya shook her head. She recalled the scene of Gu Lingqing carrying the child, and Zhou Hailan following beside him. Her eyes turned cold. I don't know and I don't care. His world and mine are not the same. I just want to forget this person as soon as possible. You'd better not mention him in front of me. Su Jiran's lips curled up. Do you mean what you said? I mean it, Baiya said with certainty. Su Jiran believed that she was sincere. A smile appeared in his eyes. Be careful on the road. When you arrive at Jinyuan City, I'll get someone to pick you up. There's no need. Xiaoxing said that she had sent a document to Jinyuan City's police. They should have someone to pick me up at the train station. Xiaoxing has also booked a hotel for me. I've been to Jinyuan City many times this month, and I'm very familiar with the city. Troubling your friend will only make me look incompetent. Since you've already rejected me, if I force you, I'll only make you hate me. All right then. Remember to give me a call when you arrive at Jinyuan. Also, seeing that your performance today wasn't bad, I'll give you a big present when you come back, Su Jiran said with a smile. What big gift? You'll know when you come back, Su Jiran kept her in suspense. Is it about Xing Bachuan? Baiya guessed. Chapter 286. She was not really looking forward to the surprise he had mentioned. She would be happy if it was just a surprise. Baiya boarded the train. Mu Xiaoxue had booked a first-class seat for her. She did not know why, but she felt sleepy easily. It was as if she wanted to make up for the lack of sleep she had during her insomnia. She fell asleep the moment she boarded the train, and was woken up by her phone ringing. She looked at the time. It was already 9:30 p.m. She picked up Chunbin's call. You should be arriving at Jinyuan Station soon. I'm already waiting for you outside. See you later, Chunbin said politely. Baiya was happy to reunite with an old friend. Have you been transferred to Jinyuan City's police station? Yeah. There was a big case in Jinyuan City right after I was transferred here. It would be bad for us to deal with it directly, so we hired a specialist. I reported it to the higher-ups, but I didn't expect them to send you here. I think it's fate, Chunbin said with a smile. I don't think it's fate. It's all within reason. I was previously employed by LV Xingzhou as a psychiatrist. Because he interfered with my treatment, I ended my employment relationship with him early. Let's talk about it when we meet. Baiya looked out of the window. All right, let's talk when we meet. Chunbin hung up. Baiya went to the bathroom to wash her face. She took her luggage down from the luggage rack and stood at the door. It was already dark outside. Her face was reflected in the door, but her mind was blank. She could not think of anything. The train soon arrived at the station. She got out and saw Chunbin from afar. He was wearing a light blue suit. He looked gentle and elegant, like a scholar. If one did not know his identity, no one would know that he was the police chief. Baiya walked over to him. He took the luggage from her like a gentleman. Have you had dinner? I'm used to not feeling hungry during the journey, so I don't have much appetite, Baiya said politely. It's not good for your stomach if you don't eat anything. Let's eat something nearby. I'll send you back to the hotel and tell you about the case on the way. Chunbin placed the luggage in the back of the car. Baiya nodded. At the restaurant, Chen Bin ordered tomato eggs, kung pao chicken, carrot ribs and braised fish. While waiting for the dishes, he said, "This case is quite bizarre." One of the victims was Zhang Chuanxia, a sophomore in high school. She had good grades and was the prettiest girl in her class. 3 months ago, accompanied by her parents, she came to the police station to report the case. She said that she had been raped by her classmate, Lu Biao. "We've checked and found that there's an additional 1 million in their account. It should be Lu Biao's family who used the money to settle this matter." At the murder scene, not only was Zhang Chuanxia raped again, but the murderer was also extremely cruel. After injecting 84 disinfectant into her body, completely destroying her DNA, she blocked her Y region with a blister agent, and even dug out her tongue. So far, her tongue has not been found. The cause of death was cut. The main artery of the neck was cut, and he bled to death. Zhang Chuanxia's mother had been stabbed 36 times. The fatal stab had been to the heart, and she had been amputated. One of her legs had been stuffed into the mouth of the deceased and sealed with a blister. Zhang Chuanxia's father's eyes and other organs had been dug out. The cause of death was suffocation while being pressed into water. "Why did you arrest Lu Biao?" Baiya was surprised. "Someone said that they saw Lu Biao sneaking around on the night of the crime. When we caught him, he didn't say anything and had a blank expression," Chen Bin explained. "Was the victim's house the first scene of the crime? Did you find any drugs in the victim's body?" Baiya asked. "The strange thing is that the victim's house was the first scene of the crime, but no drugs were found in the victim's body. So this case is very bizarre. We suspect that Lu Biao is not the only murderer," Chen Bin guessed. "Is Zhang Chuanxia's house a private or commercial house? Are there no surveillance cameras around?" Baiya asked. "This is also a strange place. They live in an old neighborhood, and the surveillance equipment is not good. But the people downstairs did not hear the movements upstairs." Then, who discovered the case first? Zhang Chuanxia's classmate came to look for Zhang Chuanxia. No one picked up their phone, and no one answered when they knocked on the door. Then they realized that the door was unlocked. When they opened the door and saw blood, they called the police. "What about the time of death? What about the contents of the stomach? Did you find the murder weapon?" Baiya asked 3 questions in a row. The time of death was between 9 and 4 in the morning. The victim was found at 7:35 the next day. The contents of the stomach were the food she ate at night. There was nothing special. The murder weapon was left at the scene. The murder weapon used for amputation must be quite big, right? Baiya guessed. It was an electric saw knife. It was left at the scene. The problem is that Zhang Chuanxia's father bought the saw online. It wasn't brought by the murderer. The bayonet was taken from the kitchen. The blowing agent and 84 disinfectant were all from the victim's house. It doesn't seem to be premeditated, but it was done flawlessly. The murderer didn't leave any fingerprints or traces at the scene. How did they do it? Chen Bin was confused. Their food was served. Chen Bin was a little apologetic. He wanted to treat her to a good night meal, but he seemed to have said too much. Baiya had no appetite at all. She decided not to eat. Were there any signs of them being tied up? The forensic report didn't mention this. That's why I don't think it's possible to solve this case. I also don't believe that LV Biao did it alone. After all, he's still a child. How could he control 3 people alone? 2 of them were adults. But when I asked him, he wouldn't say anything. Chen Bin sighed and looked at Baiya. "I'm sorry for talking about such a bloody topic while you're eating. Can I go see LV Biao tonight?" Baiya asked. "So late? Don't you need to rest?" Chen Bin asked worriedly. "I slept for a few hours in the car, so I'm not sleepy. I can pack these and send them to LV Biao," Baiya said gently. Chen Bin smiled. "You're quite considerate of him." "Psychological warfare is the best," Baiya said. Her lips curled into a meaningful smile. They packed the food. Chen Bin informed his subordinates to work overtime. Baiya took the food and went to the interrogation room to see LV Biao. When LV Biao saw Baiya, his eyes widened in surprise. Then he furrowed his brows and turned his face away. Baiya smiled. "Even if you're angry with me, You should eat your fill before you have the energy. You've been starving here for many days, right? Chapter 287. She had guessed that LV Biao would know her identity. When she left LV Biao's house, LV Biao lost his temper. His mother must have said a lot of bad things about her, including exposing her real identity. I came to save you as soon as I knew you were in trouble. Do you think I'm a psychologist now? Baya joked. Save me? How much money did you take from my father? LV Biao mocked. When I was your psychologist, I signed a contract and got paid. This time I didn't. Baya confirmed and looked at LV Biao attentively. LV Biao studied her face as if he wanted to see if she was lying. But there was none. Did you really come to save me because you cared about me? LV Biao was a little shaken. As long as you're innocent, I'll do everything I can to prove your innocence. As long as you're innocent, I won't let anyone frame you. Ms. Bai, I didn't kill anyone. I didn't kill them. LV Biao's psychological defense was broken. Why did you appear at the crime scene? Baya asked. My mom not only let the students who bullied me go, but she also fired you. I was very angry, so I wanted to do something to express my anger. So I let out the tires of the students who bullied me. When they found out it was me, they encouraged Zhang Chuanxia to call the police and say that I raped her. On the day of the crime, I wanted to warn Zhang Chuanxia, so I picked the lock of her house. After I opened the door, I found a strong smell of blood, and I heard Zhang Chuanxia crying. I knew something had happened in their house, so I sneaked in and pushed open Zhang Chuanxia's door. I saw Zhang Chuanxia lying on the bed without any clothes, but her private part was blocked by something that looked like white foam. Her mouth was also covered with white foam, and her throat was bleeding. I pushed open the door to the room next to Zhang Chuanxia's. Her mother was also dead on the bed. Her limbs were amputated, and she died a horrible death. I thought that if her mother was there, her father should be there too. I was afraid of leaving fingerprints, so I erased the fingerprints on Zhang Chuanxia's door and her mother's door. In the end, I found Zhang Chuanxia's father naked in the bathroom. His organs were removed, but LV Biao paused and did not speak. But what? Baya's intuition was an important clue. LV Biao glanced at Baya, and then at the food Baya had brought. He continued, there was a phone on the pool, and there were a few videos on it. They were very bloody, so I took them. When I walked out of Zhang Chuanxia's house, I bumped into some people. I thought they would accuse me, and sure enough, they really did. Then why didn't you say anything? You should know that if you don't say anything, it will be very disadvantageous for you. Baya frowned. Their modus operandi is amazing. Their mentality is very good. They are professionals. I just want to see if the police can find them, so I don't want to say anything. When Baya saw the glint in LV Biao's eyes, he had a bad feeling. LV Biao was still young. He was like a piece of white paper with a strong absorptive force. Whatever kind of guidance he had, he would be able to draw out a certain picture. He had to find the murderer and punish him. Otherwise, it would greatly distort LV Biao's mentality. Eat first. I'll get you some water. Baya walked out of the interrogation room. LV Biao opened the takeaway box. You're still the best. LV Biao spoke the moment you arrived. But why didn't you ask about the specific contents of the phone? Chen Bin asked, puzzled. Firstly, he said that he wanted to see the police's ability, so he wouldn't say anything, even if I asked. Secondly, he revealed a few words, professional and good psychological quality. I suspect that the criminal recorded the process of the crime, but they wouldn't expose their own information, so they recorded it. So through recording, the chances of finding out who the murderer is should be very low. Could it be a serial murder case? Random murder? But I haven't seen any cases of death from exhaustion so far. Could this be the first time they killed someone? It's unbelievable. Chen Bin frowned. A new official was most afraid of such an unsolved case. Random murder? Baya narrowed her eyes. She also felt annoyed. This was like looking for a needle in a haystack. There was no clue. Can we get the video? Although the chances are slim, it's better than no clues at all. Chinbin suggested. It's better not to ask LV Biao about the video. Otherwise, he will doubt your ability. Where did you catch LV Biao? Baya asked. It was at his house. What's wrong? Chinbin asked, puzzled. LV Biao called this crime perfect, so he definitely wouldn't destroy it. He might keep it. Go search LV Biao's house. Maybe it's in his cloud collection, Baya suggested. Chinbin ordered his men to do something. Baya brought the water into the interrogation room. After entering, she didn't say anything. She just watched LV Biao eat. LV Biao wolfed down the food and looked quite pitiful. After you came in, did your father come to see you? Baya asked. LV Biao shrugged and said indifferently, this incident is too sensational. He probably wants to kill me. I don't have much feelings for him to begin with. The fee you paid me wasn't low. I still love you. LV Biao sneered. Feelings can't be bought with money. He spends money easily, but it's hard for him to give his feelings. Sometimes, I hate that I'm his son. I can't feel any fatherly love. I've never told you my story. My story is much more bizarre than yours. I'll tell you slowly after I get you out of here. Baya stood up. LV Biao also stood up. Teacher Bai, why are you so nice to me? We've only known each other for a few days. We're both in the same boat. I feel that we're fated. Besides, feelings are mutual. You can protect me from your mother and trust me. I'm quite touched. Stay here for a few more days. I'll bring you delicious food. Teacher Bai. LV Biao was a little touched. I still have a clue. That woman dropped an earring. I picked it up and put it in a book. Maybe there are fingerprints on it. Baya smiled. Making a mistake once did not mean making a mistake for the rest of his life. LV Biao had a chance to walk the right path. I'll come see you tomorrow. When Baya went out, Chinbin said gratefully, that's great. This kid finally spoke. Now the database has everyone's fingerprints. As long as there are fingerprints on the earring, we can quickly find the murderer, and this case will be solved. It seems that it really has nothing to do with LV Biao. As long as he's fine, I won't have to step on the governor. I can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Chapter 288. She went back to sleep. Chinbin was a new boss, and this case was unusual. He didn't sleep the whole night. He applied for a search warrant and found the earrings and the phone. Baya woke up naturally. She looked at the time. It was 7:30 in the morning. Her mind was a little muddled. She sat on the bed in a daze for 3 minutes, and gradually, she returned to reality. As long as she lived, life would continue. She brushed her teeth, washed her face, tied her hair up on top of her head, changed into a dark purple suit, took her breakfast rolls, and went to the hotel cafeteria. As soon as she walked in, she saw Gu Lingqing sitting by the window. He took a sandwich, a glass of milk, and an egg, and ate slowly. The eyes outside the window fell on his handsome body through the window, enveloped in a hazy halo. It had only been a few days, but it seemed like a lifetime had passed. He was as lofty as an immortal, and she was also a drop in the ocean. She had seen the ocean, but now she didn't recognize him. She took a chicken salad, a side dish, a bowl of noodles, a glass of sweet soy milk, and sat in the corner. Actually, she was quite curious. Why was he in Jinyuan, and in the same hotel as her? Was it because she was here, and he followed her? She thought it was unlikely. Since he had chosen to marry another woman, based on her understanding of him, a responsible person like him would not have anything to do with her. So, was it because of the treasure? Baya subconsciously looked at him. Coincidentally, he was also looking at her. His eyes were deep, and he didn't say anything. He didn't have any intention of greeting her. It was as if there were mountains between the two of them. She used to love ancient poetry, especially in middle and high school. She was infatuated with these genteel poems. She memorized all the poems that she felt were artistic and beautiful. When she was in puberty, she also wrote some poems, and her favorite thing to do was to randomly put them together. Now that he saw Gu Lingqing, a few words flashed through his mind. Two people in a life and death situation, do not think, have nowhere to talk about desolation. Even if they meet, should not recognize each other. Heart like dust, eyes like light, only sorrow, sentimentality hurts. Baya lowered her eyes. She was calm like silk, and she wasn't shocked at all. Gu Lingqing finished eating before her. He didn't come over to say hello and directly left. There seemed to be no more interaction between the two of them. She felt a little pain in her heart, and even her eyes were a little wet. She lowered her head and didn't want anyone to see her emotions at this moment. She suppressed all the pain in her heart. She thought of the ancient times. Many people became friends because they were like-minded. Unfortunately, men had ambitions to travel far and wide. At that time there was no mobile phone, no fixed residence. Parting meant that they would never meet again. Once parted, the words written by the literati were particularly sad. Now there were mobile phones and the internet, but the sincere feelings of the ancients were gone. Even their feelings had to be disguised. All right, she admitted that she was sad. This kind of sadness was more than she had imagined. She wanted to cry, but she had no reason to. This was their normal, correct and normal path of life, wasn't it? Baya had finished all the food in front of him, but what about the water in his heart? It couldn't be discharged from his tears. It could only settle, and settle again in his heart. She got up and walked towards the hotel lobby. Her mobile phone rang. She saw that it was Chunbin and answered. Sorry, am I late? Chunbin was in a good mood. Your working hours have always been flexible. There's no such thing as being late. Let me tell you a piece of good news. There are fingerprints on the earring. Other than Zhang Chuanxia's father's, it's also the murderer's. After comparing the fingerprints, we've found the murderer. Hearing this news early in the morning makes me feel better. Is Lu Biao okay now? Baya said with a smile. He's fine. He went home this morning. Governor Lu is very happy. He's treating us to lunch today. Are you coming to the station, or should I pick you up at noon? Chunbin asked. I'm coming to the station now. After all, the murderer hasn't been caught yet. Okay, I'll wait for you, Chunbin said in a low voice. The words wait for you were very beautiful. However, when it was not said by the person he wanted, there was no such feeling of heartbeat. When Baya arrived at the station, Chunbin was already there, sitting in front of the computer, browsing. She knocked on the door of the office. Chunbin looked at her and smiled. Come in. Baya sat down opposite him. Who's the murderer? The murderer's name is Zhang Hui. The husband and wife are wanted criminals on the internet. They used to run a hotel and murdered 13 guests in 3 years. 8 of them were men, 4 were women, and 1 was a child. Among the men, 2 were policemen. Their psychological quality is really good, and their methods are also cruel. Chunbin showed the computer to Baya. They're really a crime syndicate. Baya looked at the reports about the husband and wife. She felt that something was wrong. Do you think they killed people at random? They used to kill people at random. Moreover, because they didn't leave any information about their accommodation, the killings were also random. Chunbin guessed. Baya did not say anything. There was a knock on the door. A police officer came in and reported to Chunbin. Chief Chun, we found the murderer. They committed suicide by taking poison in the rented house. They even wrote a suicide note, describing how they murdered Zhang Chuanxia's family. Committed suicide? Chunbin was also very surprised. Is the video with you now? Baya asked Chunbin. Yes, the phone has been found. Let me take a look at the phone, Baya said to Chunbin. Chunbin's expression was a little strange. He looked like he wanted to say something but stopped. What's wrong? Baya asked, puzzled. It's a little unsightly. Chunbin gave Baya a heads up and handed the sealed bag with the phone. Do you think I'll be afraid? Don't worry, I'm not that timid. Before I became a psychiatrist, I was an obstetrician. I dissected patients every day. Baya took the phone and played the video. When she saw the scene, she was indeed uncomfortable. A masked murderer held a knife to Zhang Chuanxia's neck and raped her. In the room, Zhang Chuanxia's family was there. He also asked Zhang Chuanxia's father to, and then made Zhang Chuanxia's father pour 84 disinfectant into his mouth. The murderer said, You don't want the police to identify you as the murderer through the J fluid test in your daughter's body, do you? Zhang Chuanxia's father begged for mercy. Please let us go. We have 500,000 in the bank. If you want it, let go of my wife and child, and I'll give it all to you. The murderer laughed wildly. 500,000? Ha 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 ha. That depends on your performance. Chapter 289. While Zhang Chuanxia's father was weak, the murderer pressed his head into the pool and suffocated him to death. After Zhang Chuanxia's father died, she cut off his genitals and placed them in a sealed bag. What she didn't notice was that while she was enjoying herself, Zhang Chuanxia's father had purposely removed one of her earrings and held it tightly in his palm. After the murderer killed Zhang Chuanxia's father, she continued recording on her phone and returned to Zhang Chuanxia's room. Zhang Chuanxia's mother had a bad feeling when she saw that her husband wasn't back. Where's my husband? Your husband went out to get money. You come with me. Zhang Chuanxia's mother followed the murderer suspiciously. As soon as she entered the room, she was stabbed several times by the murderer. The murderer pushed Zhang Chuanxia's mother away, turned on the electric saw, and cleanly sawed off Zhang Chuanxia's mother's leg. She stuffed her foot into Zhang Chuanxia's mother's mouth. Watch your mouth, huh? She took the phone and went to Zhang Chuanxia's room next door. The other murderer had already forced Zhang Chuanxia to complete her oral sex. The woman went up and mercilessly cut off Zhang Chuanxia's tongue. Zhang Chuanxia was in so much pain that she wanted to die. She stuffed Zhang Chuanxia's mouth with a foam agent. Zhang Chuanxia couldn't make a sound and fainted. The female murderer stuffed Zhang Chuanxia's lower body with the foam agent again and scolded. Who asked you to do this? She threw the knife to the male murderer and ordered. Have you had enough fun? If you have, end her. The man took the knife and mercilessly slit Zhang Chuanxia's neck. The whole process was too violent and bloody. After watching it, Baiya felt a chill run down her spine. She didn't look good either and shuddered. Chunbin handed her a cup of hot tea. The husband and wife are very mentally strong. They can do whatever they want in someone else's territory. Baiya took the hot tea from Chunbin and took a sip. If they're mentally strong, why would they commit suicide? Could it be that they were tired of hiding and wanted to do something big, so they deliberately left the recording at the scene? Chunbin guessed. Why do you think they left the recording with the police? Baiya asked. A demonstration. Baiya twitched the corner of his mouth. If I were the murderer, I'd decide to commit suicide. I also hate the police and want to demonstrate to them. What I'd do is not wear a mask and let the police see that I did it. Then I'd rent a boat and go out to sea. I'd tie rocks to my feet and jump into the sea. Yes, I'll make it so that the police won't be able to catch me for the rest of my life. Baiya analyzed. Chunbin's expression turned grave. Are you saying that they didn't commit suicide? They've already left the video to the police on purpose. Do you think that they would intentionally describe the murder before dying? Baiya retorted. So they were murdered. Moreover, the murderer knows how they killed them. Could it really be LV Biao? Chunbin was horrified. He widened his eyes and looked at Baiya. Baiya was still calm. He took a sip of water and looked at Chunbin calmly. When they died, LV Biao should still be in the detention center. How could he kill them? Oh right. Chunbin breathed a sigh of relief. LV Biao's identity was special. It was fine as long as it wasn't LV Biao. There are a few sentences in the video. The first sentence is, Baiya played the video and showed it to Chunbin. 500,000. Ahahaha. Did you feel anything strange? Baiya asked. Chunbin listened to it a few times and deduced from the results. The murderer didn't care about 500,000. Was it because they were preparing to commit suicide, so they weren't tempted by the money? Baiya played another sentence that the murderer said after killing Zhang Chuanxia's mother. Watch your mouth, he. Is it because she asked, where's my husband? Chunbin asked, puzzled. Baiya played the last sentence that the murderer said to Zhang Chuanxia. I'll make you despicable. The murderer's heart is twisted, Chunbin guessed. Baiya put the glass of water on the table and sighed. She asked, let me ask you. Did Zhang Chuanxia's father have $1 million in his bank account? He spent the money 2 days before his death as a down payment for a villa, Chunbin explained. That would explain why the murderer was so arrogant and full of disbelief. He knew Zhang Chuanxia's family's situation like the back of his hand. Zhang Chuanxia's parents probably couldn't afford the loan for the villa, but they still bought it. That's because they had a way to make money. Baya analyzed. They got themselves killed because of this way of making money. Chunbin came to a sudden realization. The murderer also told them how to make money, Baya reminded him. Chunbin pondered. Then we have to start from the people that Zhang Chuanxia has been in contact with recently. Chunbin, you've never been a detective before, right? Baya said meaningfully. Chunbin's face was strangely red, but he was honest. Indeed, I haven't, but I'll try my best to learn. I actually already know who the murderer is, but we don't have any witnesses or material evidence at the moment. We can't convict him just by guessing. Baya shrugged. Who is it? Chunbin was surprised. The murderer couldn't have appeared at the scene. From the video, we can also see that there were 2 people who committed the crime. But why do you think the murderer knows everything about the crime? Baya glanced at the phone. Chunbin understood. The murderer saw the contents of the phone, but the phone was found yesterday. The only people who knew about it were me and a few police officers. Could it be those police officers? How much money do your police officers have? Even if they liked Zhang Chuanxia's family wouldn't like your police officers, Baya retorted. Could it be me? Chunbin was shocked. Baya was amused by Chunbin. Are you very rich? I can, and I have some power, Chunbin said honestly. Baya was amused by Chunbin again. It's not you. Think about it again. I think you'll know who it is after you sleep tonight. But there's nothing you can do even if you figure it out. There's no evidence, only speculation. I can see all the reports about the murderer's suicide tomorrow. It's from the forensics department, right? The higher-ups are paying more attention to this case. They're working overtime today. The forensics department will also send us all the things we need. Okay. Baya stood up and looked at her phone. It was already 10:45 a.m. Didn't you say that Governor Liu is treating us to dinner? Chunbin's eyes flashed with a strange look. Oh yes. We're meeting at 12 o'clock in room 312 of Savant's restaurant. Let's go there now. Baya followed Chunbin to Savant's restaurant. She should have met Governor Liu, but she didn't expect that it was Gu Lingqing who arrived instead of Governor Liu. Other than Gu Lingqing, he also brought a man with him. She didn't know him. Chapter 290. Gu Lingqing's deep gaze fell on her. He didn't say anything, as if he had said thousands of words. That strange yet familiar feeling overwhelmed her, and she didn't know how to deal with it. She lowered her head. Did you guys go to the wrong room? Someone beside Gu Lingqing asked. Baya immediately turned around. Chunbin held Baya's arm. I'll call and ask. Baya nodded. Chunbin smiled at Baya. His eyes filled with affection and made the call. The phone rang outside the door. LV Xingzhou walked in with his phone and smiled. You're all here. I'm sorry there was a bit of a traffic jam. Teacher Bai. LV Biao greeted warmly. Teacher Bai. LV Biao's mother didn't look too good. After all, Baya saved her son, and they didn't have a good relationship before. Baya nodded politely at them as a form of greeting. Chunbin saw LV Xingzhou coming over, so he hung up and said politely, It's rush hour. It'd be weird if we didn't gamble. Governor LV, you came at the right time. I thought we went to the wrong room. A friend has come from afar. Let me introduce him to you. LV Xingzhou looked at Gu Lingqing. Chief Gu from the Special Forces. Chief Gu, this is Baya, a famous psychiatrist, and Chunbin, the current police chief. Both of you are elites among the younger generation. When I was your age, I was still nothing. LV Xingzhou chatted with them as he sat down facing the door, as the host. As the host, LV Biao sat on his left, and Gu Lingqing sat on LV Xingzhou's right, which was the most distinguished seat. Because it was booked in advance, and it was a room for an important person. The dishes were served quickly. The waiter poured red wine for everyone. Here, I'd like to thank Teacher Bai. I'm sorry, there was some misunderstanding between you and my wife. I was too busy at work and didn't know the details in time. Teacher Bai was wronged. I'd like to propose a toast to you. LV Xingzhou smiled and raised his glass. Baiya raised her glass too. LV Biao's mother had a cowardly personality, and it was impossible for her not to report to LV Xingzhou. LV Xingzhou's words were spoken in front of everyone, and it had legal effect. He wanted to clear himself of the responsibility in the contract. If she smiled and agreed, not only would the contract not be terminated, but she would also suffer the consequences 3 months later. Some of the courtesies were not needed, and some of them were rejected. He couldn't refuse them just because of the occasion and face. Didn't your wife call you last time? Baiya said directly and took a sip of wine. LV Xingzhou did not expect Baiya to not give him face at all. His face was a little ugly, and he looked at his wife. Did you tell me about this? LV Xingzhou's wife's complexion was also very bad. She was stuttering. She said a lot of bad things about Baiya in front of LV Biao. She did not want Baiya to continue to be LV Biao's tutor, but she had to give her husband a way out. I have a bad memory, so I forgot. Fortunately, I have a good memory. However, business is business, and private is private. I followed the arrangements of the research institute, and did what I should do. Governor Liu even specially invited me to dinner. I'm embarrassed. Let me propose a toast to Governor Liu, Baiya replied. LV Xingzhou unhappily glared at his wife. There were so many people around, and it was not good for him to flare up, so he put on a fake smile and raised his wine glass, taking a sip. By the way, Governor Liu, aren't you busy recently? Are you free at noon? Baiya asked with a smile. It just so happens that I came to Jinyuan for an inspection today. I have some matters to settle. No matter how busy I am, I still have to eat. Kindness needs to be repaid. Fortunately, Teacher Bai is here. If it was someone else, they might not have been able to solve the case, LV Xingzhou replied. Governor Liu, you flatter me. If you do it, God will not let it go. If you don't do it, God will see it. Xiao Biao just needs to tell us where the mobile phone is. The video inside can prove Xiao Biao's innocence, Baiya explained. Is that so? LV Xingzhou looked at Chunbin in surprise. Chunbin nodded. That's right. However, when we asked your son, he didn't say anything. He sighed. LV Xingzhou sighed. Only you can control my son. I'm very sincere in hiring you as Xiao Biao's teacher again. Teacher Bai, LV Biao shouted. I like you. Gu Lingqing's eyes darkened. He looked at Baiya, raised his wine glass, and took a sip to drown his sorrows. Baiya also raised his wine glass and smiled at LV Biao. Actually, you never needed me. Others don't believe in you, but I believe in you. One day, you will become a very useful person. Remember, don't make mistakes, don't take a wrong step. LV Biao's eyes reddened. He raised his wine glass and said, Teacher Bai, thank you. Baiya clinked his glass against the table, then drank all the wine in the glass in one gulp. LV Biao also drank all the wine in his glass. Pour some wine for your teacher Bai, LV Xingzhou reminded him. LV Biao picked up the glass bottle and walked to Baiya's side to pour some wine. Chunbin also raised his glass. Here's to you. Thank you for coming. I don't deserve it. I still have to thank you for saving me. Baiya raised his wine glass. Can I take it as fate bestowed upon me by God? Chunbin said with a smile. He clinked his glass with Baiya's and drank all the wine in one gulp. Baiya saw him drink it. If he didn't, he would be too petty. LV Xingzhou saw the clues. You guys knew each other before this? I think it's a good fate, Chunbin said with a smile, with the ambiguity of a mature man. Gu Lingqing drank all the wine in his glass in one gulp again. His eyes were deep, like a 10,000-year-old deep pool, unfathomable.